Hey, everyone. It is not Thursday, it's Tuesday. Welcome back to the Disc Connected. And I was trying to think earlier, is this the second or third time that we've done this?
This is my second time.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Okay, so it must only be second.
Did we do this without John one year? I can't remember.
So that's what I'm feeling like. Was there a third time? I feel like there was, but I'm not sure. It might have been
possible.
Oh, you know what? We did the predictions, the nominations last year, but then we also had Oscar night. So maybe that's
the live stream.
The live stream, which was like 6 hours long.
Could be. So everybody that did not see it last year, John, Jeremy, and I are somebody that some of us love award shows, some of us don't love award shows, but love the impact that it can have on things. Others just kind of get caught up in it. Either way, we're here to give appreciation for the year in film of 2023. And the big thing, I don't know about you two, have not been spoiled yet. I've not been able to read anything. I've not been able to hear anything. I've kept myself away. How'd you guys do with that?
It's been great. I totally logged off of social media today, and it was like a breath of fresh air. Like it was like so nice not to like mindlessly scroll through Twitter today and be fresh for this.
I had to stay off my various discords. Ryan did a good job of telling everybody to shut the hell up on his Discord that I'm a part of, but I'm in other film related discords that I had to stay away from. I'm here at my production office again, so I had to tell everybody here to leave me alone and work with my AirPods in all day. Last and Boyd Genius, and I had to stay on social media as well. I got on Instagram only once all day to post about this show, and as soon as I did, the very first thing at the top of my feed was something from the Academy, and I was like, scroll. Didn't look at it. I immediately swiped until it was something else so I could post about this show tonight.
So. I was getting ready for tonight, and I was playing football with my kids because I had an extra like 15 minutes. And my wife goes, "So it's Oscar Day. How do you feel about the Barbie thing?" And I was like, I don't know anything. Don't tell me anything, please. And she's like, "Oh, you don't know?" It's like, no, the show's tonight. So there's something happening with Barbie.
Routine?
I guess not. So yeah, the way this is going to go tonight, we're going to talk about each category. We're going to go over, I'm going to pull up another screen, the Academy screen. We're going to go over the first one that we see, and we're going to give our guesses of what was going to be nominated. Then we'll see what was really nominated, and then we will discuss. Normally, I highlight a whole bunch of comments. We chat with everybody. I have a feeling, considering what a couple of the comments already say, that there's going to be some spoilers in the comments. I will try to stay away from those. I'm literally hiding the comments with my phone right now so I can read my lists. So if you really want a comment, discuss something like that, Super Chat is open. I'll see the highlighted color on the side, and I'll raise it, and we'll discuss it for sure. Not going to be super interactive tonight until we're done reading everything, but it's going to be a really fun show. And then on top of that, John already alluded to it. We're going to do our best to get all three of us together and watch the Oscars live again this year. I think we're going to be able to do it. And it'll be another 6-hour show like last year. And we'll have a lot of fun talking about everything from the commercials and what people are wearing to who's getting snubbed and which crazy parties won. So I'm looking forward to
it. We won't be lagging behind John's stream this time.
That's right. I'll be in the same place. I'll be in Port St. Lucie, Florida for Mets spring training. So that's where I'm at for Oscars.
Yeah, for those that don't know, Jeremy is involved in a lot of things, writing on television, doing post-production, all kinds of that fun stuff. John is the broadcast director of the Mets, the New York Mets, the ones that you've heard of. He's a rather interesting person as well. So the three of us have three very different looks into all of this. So I'm very curious to see what everybody predicts, especially because Jeremy and I kind of did this already. In December, we kind of talked about who we felt like was going to be nominated, but a lot of stuff has changed since December.
We only went over the main categories, Ryan and I. So we didn't dive into all the categories like we'll be going over tonight. And that was before any other award ceremony happened.
Right. And that changes a lot of things.
Yeah.
How closely have you all been paying attention to those?
Yeah, I'm into it. This is, you know, like you said, not everybody loves award shows, but it's really a celebration of what we all, you know, love here. So I like it. I like tracking it. I like seeing the trends, like what's, you know, whose stock is rising, who's falling, you know. And this is one of those years where especially Best Picture, there's not going to be a lot of surprises. I think tonight. I'll be surprised if it strays from the 10 films that I have, you know, predicting.
Wow. I think for that category, I have one or two that I think are a little bit bold. So we'll see.
I have at least one. Yeah. I agree with John, of course. And we've talked about this when we've done these streams before, but you know, I think it's fair to say that all three of us, if I would speak for all three of us, don't really agree with the Academy per se, or really any of the other award ceremonies necessarily and what they believe. You know, they certainly have their priorities and their own kind of things that are going on behind the scenes determining who they nominate and things of that nature. But
right.
I look at, as John just said, at these award ceremonies as a celebration and a ceremony of the thing that we're all very passionate about, which is film and filmmaking, and the people that work tirelessly around the year to provide us with those and provide us with entertainment. So, and I'm in that industry, so it's important to me, and so I'm all here for it, even if I don't agree with everything that's nominated.
So here is a fun question, and then we'll go to our first category. How, you know, with the way that the other award shows has affected this in the last couple months, is there a title that you were hot on that you think has cooled down a lot? Jeremy, what do you think?
There's titles that there's a handful of titles that I thought the Academy was going to be hot on that I've noticed they're not, or that I've noticed is not part, like, has not really been mentioned at all in the awards circuit thus far, that I've, you know, shuffled around since our December show for tonight, and then vice versa. There's stuff I've noticed popping up in the other awards, like the Golden Globes and PGA hasn't happened yet, but that's the guild I'm in. So I've noticed things popping up that I didn't expect, kind of popping up in certain categories in the awards circuit. So that definitely went into my readjustments for tonight's show.
Yeah, I feel like what film Twitter necessarily deems, you know, award worthy doesn't always translate, obviously, to the Oscars. And movies like May December, and Saltburn, which have triggered a lot of discussion online, I don't think those films are necessarily going to be the most rewarded when it comes to nominations. So, you know, when, you know, especially on Netflix, when they put out a movie, it's hot, and, you know, everyone was talking May December when it came out, and Saltburn on Amazon. So it's those films that start hot, but they really go cold really quickly. Hey, Jordan.
I fully agree, and it seems like we're seeing that almost get worse and worse with these streamers. I don't know if you all agree, but I feel like a couple of years ago the streamers had a little more of a longevity. It felt like a little more of a novelty, but now it's like a drop in the bucket and it's gone.
It's
a lot of them. Yeah.
These movies, they have a moment, but then they just get lost into the algorithm and they're more or less gone, you know?
And then vice versa, some of the ones that deserve a moment don't even get a moment. Like, you know, I think it's 2 years ago, might have been 3 years. No, 3 years ago, 2020. I'm Thinking of Ending Things. One of the best Netflix originals, in my opinion, and didn't get any kind of buzz whatsoever. Not just from the award ceremonies, but really much chatter. Period.
Right.
Absolutely.
Interesting. Yeah. And, you know, with I think it was today even, word came out, Netflix is signing, I know it's not, you know, real pertinent to this, but WWE Raw is going to Netflix. That's a big deal. To get that out of the hands of cable and into Netflix, they're taking too much, I think.
Well, they're certainly the most expensive streaming platform.
And getting worse by the day, it feels like. Okay. So when I opened the tab for the Academy site, the thing that it said at the top was Best Actor in a Leading Role. So tonight we're going to start with Best Actor. And first, we're going to go over our guesses, and then I will bring up the screen, and then that will be with us for the rest of the night because it'll be the one on top, and then everything else will be a surprise for us. So let's see. John, why don't you go first? Best actor. Who do you got?
Sure. We're going all 5?
All 5. Why not?
Okay. So for me, this category, I think there are 4 locks. The four locks are Giamatti, Cillian Murphy, Bradley Cooper, Jeffrey Wright. Those are the 4 locks for Holdovers, Oppenheimer, Maestro, and American Fiction.
Interesting.
The fifth hole, I think it goes to Coleman Domingo for Rustin, which is a big deal because that means no Leonardo DiCaprio for Killers of the Flower Moon. But I would say my 5th hole is Coleman Domingo.
Interesting. What do you got different there, Jeremy?
Minus Scorsese and Lily Gladstone, I think Killers of the Flower Moon has severely deflated over awards season so far.
Agreed.
So I would agree with John. The thing I disagree with is I would say my 4 locks based on other ceremonies and chitter chatter around the industry is my 4 locks for this would be Cillian Murphy, Bradley Cooper, Paul Giamatti, and Coleman Domingo for Rustin. My wild card was that last one, and I was back and forth between what John chose, which I think is a great pick and could easily be it, or I went with a little bit of a wild card, and I chose Barry Keoghan for Saltburn. Which I
would love that. I think that would be great. But
I don't necessarily think that's correct. However, I will say, as a blanket statement, when adjusting my picks for tonight, I did put more Saltburn in than I had previously had based on a mixture of talk around the film socials and a mixture of award ceremonies that have happened up till now. And
interesting.
I also just realized that she won Best Picture for her last film, and I thought that would weigh in some way, perhaps.
She won original screenplay. Is that what she was?
Promising Young Woman, but it was also nominated for Best Picture.
Sure was.
And a couple other. I think I had a handful of nominations that year. So she's clearly already on the Academy's good side. I don't know how exactly they felt about Saltburn, but anyways, that is part of my decision making there.
Interesting. So I will reveal now, so it won't be as much of a surprise the whole time. I went super cold on Saltburn. I feel like it's been a little too divisive to get anything. I have no guesses for Saltburn tonight. I don't think it gets a single thing. My big one here is Cillian, Giamatti, Bradley Cooper, and then this is definitely just shady on my part, but I'm going to stick to it. I put DiCaprio / Wright because I think there's no world that they both get nominated, but I think depending on how the Academy feels, it could be either one on any given day. And I went super out of left field. I feel like they give a little love to Andrew Scott here for All of Us Strangers.
I would love that.
I would love that too.
I'll say that I actually believe, despite what my picks were, despite what early Jeremy, past Jeremy just a few hours ago's picks were, I think John has a 5 lock right now, is what I think.
Yeah, John, I think is probably correct. So those are our guesses. Let's take our first look of the entire 2024 Oscar season of first nominations. Here we go. Actor in a leading role. Bradley Cooper for Maestro. Coleman Domingo for Rustin. Paul Giamatti for The Holdovers. Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer. And Jeffrey Wright for American Fiction.
In that race is going to come. It's a 2-horse race. I mean, I know we're not talking winners tonight, but it's Giamatti versus Cillian Murphy. That's
absolutely.
Yeah. So
I agree. Now, here's a question that I don't think we've actually discussed on our previous streams when we've done this. Is it too late, without having seen any other category besides this one, for me to change something?
Yes.
Okay.
That's a good question, Jeremy, because you can kind of see what the Academy's doing once you see one category too.
Yep.
So,
yeah, because I have 2 things I would change based on that.
Oh yeah, me too. Absolutely. Yeah, this is interesting. Full disclosure, I've not seen Rustin yet. I believe both of you have seen it. What do you guys think of Rustin?
Great performance, not a great movie.
Yeah. Go see it for Coleman and nothing else.
Absolutely, the performance is great, and he's fantastic. I'm glad he's having the year that he's having. He was great in The Color Purple too.
Yeah, he was really good in that.
Yeah,
and I've heard the same thing about Maestro, which I've also not seen. Do you guys feel the same way? Like it's not a great film, but Bradley Cooper's great in it.
That's complicated. I feel like Bradley Cooper's getting a lot of crap on the socials because of it's just a very Oscar baity performance, and there's all these stories about
Oscar baity movie as a whole.
Yeah, the whole movie is, and I like the performance. I almost feel like he's overshadowed in his own movie though, by Carey Mulligan. So
who's always fantastic.
Who's always fantastic. But listen, Bradley Cooper's going to get his Oscar one day. This is just not going to be the year.
No, I don't think he stands a chance here. No.
Oh, he definitely doesn't. But I agree with John. It's a very Oscar baity movie. The movie as a whole is very Oscar baity, and it's very typical. Ryan and I talk about this all the time. Very typical biopic fare.
Yep.
There's nothing shocking about it. There's nothing new about it. The cinematography is pretty great. The black and white, and then it slowly transitions into color as we go further into Leonard Bernstein's life. But and Carey Mulligan is definitely the best part about it, I would say as well.
And the music's great.
Music, it better be.
Yeah.
I don't want him. Even if he was up for it, being considered, which, like we said, definitely not between Cillian and Paul. But I wouldn't want him to win because he would force everybody in the audience of the Oscars to stand and take away all the chairs for the rest of the ceremony.
So maybe a difficult question, but one of the things that you just hit hard was standard biopic fare. Why is Oppenheimer any different for either of you?
Oppenheimer it's just a monster. It's separate. I mean, you cannot view that as simply a biopic. There are moments in Oppenheimer where it feels like an art film. There are moments where it feels like an action film, a thriller.
Drama.
It is three distinct parts that don't really work on their own, but the way that Nolan puts it together is just brilliant. And there's really not a weak. I don't think there's a weakness in that film. It's a damn near perfect film.
It takes a visionary director of any kind to take a genre that is a genre or subgenre that's very stereotypical, something like a biopic, a rom-com, something like that, and turn it on its head and make something unique out of it. Because they do have a kind of a cookie cutter routine that they go by, and that's fine. I like my fair share of rom-coms. Guilty as charged. But yeah, I mean, look what Paul Thomas Anderson did with Punch Drunk Love. And there's other examples, but that's the first one that came to mind. And so you can, in the right hands, take something that is a fairly cookie cutter genre or story or whatever, and just totally make it into something that just blows people away. I mean, Oppenheimer, like John was saying, it's not just a biopic. It is that's the overall scoping genre, because it's about him, but it's like a courtroom drama for like half of it. It's an art house film, like John said. It jumps around, and it's what biopic have you watched where you're on the edge of your seat because it's that tense? Like you're biting your nails waiting to see what happens.
We all know how it ends. I mean, that's the funniest part.
All else, and the performances as well. I mean,
everything, the music, everything. There's not, like I said, there's not a lot of weaknesses. This in Oscar night is going to be a celebration of Oppenheimer. It just is. It's gonna win a ton of things. I'm not gonna jump ahead, but it's gonna win Best Picture. It is.
It depends on who's at the helm, is all I'll say. And when you got somebody like Christopher Nolan at the helm, like him, love him, hate him, maybe you like some of his catalog, maybe you love his entire filmography. but the man is an expert filmmaker. He knows what he's doing, and he can take something that is a very mapped out genre and turn it on its head.
Well, anything else about these 5 before we jump to the next category?
I think it's a good list, honestly.
Yeah, I think it's very strong and diverse, which is a nice continuation of that.
Are we not doing what we would prefer? Or are we going to talk about that?
Sure. I mean, we certainly can. Is there
I
anybody
only did it for like the main categories,
big
like
ones?
we went over in December.
All right, throw them out there.
The only thing I'll say, I had 3 out of this 5 in my list, which is Paul Giamatti, Cillian Murphy, and Jeffrey Wright. I would swap out in my personal list, and I would add Tio Yo for Past Lives, which is my favorite film of the year, and I think everybody in that movie is flawless. And I would also add Koji Yakushima for Perfect Days, Wim Wenders' Perfect Days, because I think he's brilliant in that.
I have to see that one. That's one that's eluded me. I haven't had a chance to see that one yet.
So those are the 2 I would swap out.
I went a little off the wall with my favorite performances of the year. My favorite performance of the year is Giamatti. He's my number 1. But after Giamatti, I have Andrew Scott and All of Us Strangers. I thought that was just a brilliant performance, beautiful. A movie that I'll be talking about a decent amount tonight that I love. It's going to be in my top 10. The Eight Mountains. It's an Italian film starring Luca Marinelli. He was also in Martin Eden in 2019, which I loved as well. My number 4 would be Alexander Skarsgård in Infinity Pool. You'll be hearing that a lot from me tonight as well.
Yeah.
And my number 5 would probably be Nicolas Cage in Dream Scenario.
Yep.
Interesting.
I almost included him in my list too.
I mean, he might be the most interesting actor working today. He just turned 60 and it feels like he's like just hitting his stride. It's amazing.
And what's crazy is he's had like 4 eras that felt like he was just hitting his stride. That's
absolutely
true.
It is a wild career when you go. He's had so many ups and downs. The Eight Mountains that you brought up, is that the one that Janus Contemporaries put out?
They did. I cannot recommend that film enough. It's one of the most beautiful films that I've ever seen. It's just absolutely gorgeous. It's one of the rare films that it tells a story of like a platonic male friendship, and it's just like it's just beautiful.
I trust your opinion more than most, and I will be buying that at the next sale.
Yeah.
All right.
My watch list.
Mine, I didn't. I've not had time today to go through and pick who I would have picked. I would say most of these are probably correct, other than the 2 that I've not seen yet. But I really wouldn't know who to replace them with. There's not. I feel like this is a very, very specific, like, not super difficult category this year. I think there were some standouts, and everything else just kind of bled together.
This is a great list. There's nothing egregious on this list at all.
Yeah, I mean my small changes, excuse me, are minor. Went down the wrong pipe, I guess. Very minor, based on 2 films that I personally loved from last year that I knew would never get, the recognition from the Academy.
Yep.
I'm very happy with this list. Sorry.
He sounds very depressed about it.
He's bailing already?
I would say the only one that I can think of that I might have thrown in there, because I don't see it getting a lot of love tonight, I could have seen them going for Zac Efron and the Iron Claw. I'm really surprised that movie didn't take off. Sometimes those late season releases don't really catch on. Sometimes they do, and they catch fire. But that was a movie that I actually just saw recently that I was surprised at that, because that's the kind of performance that, and the right time, the right actor, that, it's a real physical performance. That one I thought was going to get a lot more love than it's getting. I think if that dropped in October, Zach might be on this list.
Yeah.
If that was the only thing I was considering, maybe Iron Claw getting, I don't see it getting almost anything. Nothing
else.
No.
It's a great movie, and I guess I shouldn't be eating peanut butter filled pretzels while we.
All right. Well, now that we've almost killed Jeremy, let's go on to our second category, which is actor in a supporting role. So I will go first on this one. My guesses are Robert Downey Jr. for Oppenheimer, Robert De Niro for Killers of the Flower Moon, Ryan Gosling for Barbie, Mark Ruffalo for Poor Things, and then my wild card on this one, I'm going to say Sterling K. Brown for American Fiction. I feel like they finally throw some love at him.
Yeah.
John, what do you got different for this one?
I think there are 3, maybe 4 locks. The 3 locks are Downey Jr., Gosling, and De Niro. In my vote. It's interesting because you have the 2 Poor Things boys. So you got Defoe and Ruffalo, who are, I don't know if they're going to kind of split the vote. I have Defoe and Ruffalo as my 4 or 5. But my gut really wants to say Charles Melton because that was just a brilliant performance in May, December. I just don't know if that's going to be a film that is going to get much love tonight. So I have Downey Jr., Gosling, De Niro, Defoe, and Ruffalo.
Wow, interesting. Jeremy.
Sorry, I just saw Stan's comment. I gotta stay awake, you guys.
It's super late there, only like 7:30 p.m. John just directed a full-blown basketball game, and it's 10:30, and you're like, I got to chug Cokes.
Hey, I never said that John was not a better man than me.
Me neither.
I'm glad we're in agreement. That's one thing we can agree on. So anyways, I agree with parts of what John said. I really wanted to put Charles Melton for May December. I think it was a phenomenal performance, a standout performance, really. I don't think May December is getting any love tonight, actually. I think they're going to look completely past that one for similar reasons to what we discussed earlier, whether it's the fact that it's a Netflix movie, whether the fact that it's a touchy topic, whether whatever it may be. I think that's being overlooked. So I will also say that I had the double Poor Things bill back in December when Ryan and I did that show. I have since not seen Willem getting as much love. Unfortunately, they seem to have gone with Ruffalo for that. So I went with Robert Downey Jr., Ryan Gosling, Robert De Niro, Mark Ruffalo, and Sterling K. Brown. I think what I'll say is I'm going to slight spoiler. There was one film in the Best Picture category that I just did not know. I swapped out 2 films that in the Best Picture category from our December show. One seemed very obvious to me. The last one was kind of a wild card. And it was between 2 for me. And I split the vote across other categories between those 2. One of them is American Fiction, and that's why I decided to go with Sterling K. Brown for this.
Interesting. All right, let's take a look then. So first up, we have
Sterling.
There he is.
We could both run
fast.
it.
Wow. So that means both Poor Things boys didn't get in.
If they both still get in, that would be wild.
Well,
all right, next
they would not include. There he is.
Robert De Niro from Killers of the Flower Moon. Robert Downey from Oppenheimer, the 2 obvious locks here, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ryan Gosling for Barbie. And finally,
Mark
Ruffalo for
Patty Ruffalo.
Wow.
Good job, Jeremy.
Nice job.
And me.
And we had the exact same list, huh, Ryan?
We did, yes.
And we were both great.
Yeah, and honestly, this is my list of what I would love to see. Although, as I said, I've not seen American Fiction yet. So for that one, I'm going to say the only other one that I could see really throwing forward for this, Holt McElhaney from The Iron Claw. I felt like would have been really fun, and I appreciate his acting so damn much, and I don't feel like he's ever going to get any great attention for what he's done.
That's a great call, Ryan. I really loved that performance too. He was great.
I agree.
And other than Zach, I think that's the only other thing about that movie that you could really hang your hat on to be a part.
The only other standout performance, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
John, okay, Jeremy, what would you throw in there?
I didn't mean to jump in. I have in my personal list Downey, Gosling, and Ruffalo. I kept the Poor Things boys in my personal list because I love them both, and I love that movie. It's my second favorite movie of the year. And then I also threw in, because again, it's my favorite movie of the year, and I think everybody in it is amazing. John Magaro, I believe is how he pronounces it. Who honestly was one of the best parts about Poor Things. I mean, the whole movie, or Past Lives. Sorry, the whole movie is phenomenal. But I mean, I think he deserved much more credit for his role in that.
Yeah,
he's good in everything.
He really is.
My list has, I have Ruffalo, I have Robert Downey Jr. My changes would be, I have Paul Mescal for All of Us Strangers. I just think what a follow up to After Sun. I mean, he just doesn't miss. My number 2 would be child actor from Anatomy of a Fall, Milo Machado Grainer. One of the best child performances maybe ever. It's incredible. And my number 1 was Charles Melton. It's just his scene that he has on the roof is possibly my favorite scene in any movie this year. It's just brilliant. Yeah.
I agree 100% with all of that, but specifically the child actor in Anatomy of a Fall. I was like,
great.
I was like, wow, yeah, this is one of the best child actor performances ever.
It's truly incredible.
This gives a lot of information too about American Fiction. I think it's going to get more love than some people expected tonight.
That's a surprise for me, obviously.
I am that's based on that first category. When I asked if I could make a change, that is
all right. Let's go to our third, which is actress in a leading role. Jeremy, why don't you hit us first?
I have Emma Stone. By the way, this is another category where we have 4 locks. I think. Emma Stone, Lily Gladstone, Carey Mulligan, and Sandra Hüller, really for both her films from last year. But I think they're leaning more towards Anatomy of a Fall.
Definitely.
Well, then, just so you know, in The Zone of Interest, she's for supporting. She's not leading. Yeah.
Gotcha. 5th is a wild card yet again. I thought initially back in December it was going to be Margot for obvious reasons. It has since come to my attention that Barbie is not getting as much love in a lot of places. Well, it is in music and production design, but not as much. Yeah, not as much in performances. And so anyways, long story short, I went with, this is one of the ones I was racking my brain with for a while. And I went with something that I thought was very Academy Oscar baity, which is the film Nyad. So I went with Annette Bening for Nyad, who I believe was nominated at the Golden Globes. So between that and just thinking what the Academy likes, which is, based on true story, real life stuff, I chose Annette Bening for Nyad.
Interesting. What do you got, John?
I agree. There's 4 locks. It's Emma Stone, Poor Things, Lily Gladstone, Killers, Sandra Hüller, Anatomy of a Fall, and Carey Mulligan, Maestro. The 5th spot is really it's kind of a 4-headed monster. You have Annette Bening, Nyad. You have Margot Robbie, Barbie, Greta Lee, Past Lives, and maybe like a long shot Fantasia Barrino for The Color Purple. I think Jeremy's probably correct. It's interesting. So I think the Academy's definitely going to nominate Jodie Foster for Nyad. Whether or not they give it to Bening too, she's got the name. I don't know. This is a tough one for me because if you're not nominating Margot Robbie for Barbie, then what is Barbie getting nominated for? Above the line. So, do they go for the Oscar bait with Nyad, or do they go Margot for obviously the most popular movie of the year?
Right.
I do think this just feels like an Academy move to nominate Bening, though. I agree with Jeremy.
Dang. I'll be the odd one out then. I said Lily Gladstone, Emma Stone, And this is where we started to diverge. Sandra Hüller as well for Anatomy of a Fall. I still feel like there's a lot of juice behind Margot, so hopefully that's a part of it. And then I really, I forgot all about the Maestro thing here, and I think that I'm going to take the air out of that wings for me, and I gave that to Greta Lee. I feel like if
I
they're
wish it was her. I wish it was Greta Lee. It should.
I feel like if they're going to give anything to that film, it would only be this tonight, and maybe it still might get a Best Picture.
I think it's going to get a Best Picture nod. Yes,
right.
I think
we'll see.
I think that's all it's getting.
That was my worry. I don't see it getting director anymore, and earlier I definitely thought that was an opportunity. I don't think it's even close for that now. All right, here we go. First up. Oh, jeez. Oh, man.
Wow. Well, that takes all the drama out of it.
Same with the Sterling K. Brown. So, I mean, there still could be. Let's see. Lily
Gladstone.
Sandra Hüller. Carey Mulligan, which... Whoa. So, they gave the nomination to Ryan Gosling and not to Margot. That's
crazy.
It's also kind of ballsy for the message of that movie.
Yeah, I guess this is going to have a lot of chatter. This is going to have
there's going to be some fallback to that.
Yeah, this is
Barbie, actually, despite despite it being one of the most popular films of the year, I don't think it's getting as much award buzz as.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to
or hoped.
I think this is probably going to change my director guess for sure.
Yeah, I don't think Greta gets a nom at all.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough for
her. Yeah, but Ryan said you can't change your guess midstream.
Oh, did he?
Isn't that what you said?
I did.
No, didn't you change Sterling K. Brown?
I didn't.
No, neither one of us did.
Okay, I guess I'll keep it. I'll keep it as is.
Damn.
Unless Ryan changes his mind and lets us both change one thing.
No, I think it's better this way.
Okay, got it.
This is so interesting. Like, I don't see how you watch that movie and nominate Ryan Gosling and not Margot Robbie.
I gotta tell you though, I did watch Naiad, and I liked it a lot more than I thought it would. I mean,
I agree.
I kind of, it was one of those movies that it's on Netflix, and I was like, I guess I have to watch that. I mean, it's got, Jodie Foster's probably gonna be nominated. I gotta watch it. I liked it. I thought it was pretty damn inspiring.
I saw an advanced screening, and I went in thinking, I like both these actresses, but again, it's a biopic, so I thought it's going to be standard biopic fare, good performances for sure. Whatever. I wasn't doing anything else. I'll go check it out, and I very much enjoyed it, way more than I expected. I thought, yes, they are both very strong performances. And it is very inspiring. I found myself at the beginning. I probably went in with the wrong attitude because I went in a bit curmudgeon-y, I guess, like, oh, I'm not going to like this, but whatever. I'll go see it because I see everything. And by the end, I was like rooting for, and to think that it is indeed based on a true story, which really fuels what you're watching, to think that she actually did that at her age. And it kind of makes you think, what the hell am I doing?
Man, this is an interesting one. So for me, I'd still have Lily, I'd still have Emma Stone, but really the hard part is I've not seen Anatomy of a Fall or Maestro or Naiad. Naiad was never on my radar at all. Anatomy I've been trying to get to, and Maestro, for some reason I'm just not interested in Bradley Cooper making this movie. Nothing about it is appealing to me. So
no.
I probably had like 19 chances to watch it. Just no, thank you. But I
think it's worth a watch, kind of like how I feel about Killers of the Flower Moon, quite honestly, is I think it's worth a watch. I would never watch it again, Maestro.
Interesting.
Same.
I would say
I would have I was going to finish. I was going to throw in Greta Lee and Margot, and that would have been good for me. But go ahead.
I was just going to say that this is before I go into what I would add, all I was going to say is, in terms, again, John said earlier that this is probably not something we're really talking about yet, I guess, but I think it's a pretty close battle between Lily and Emma this category.
Yeah, I think like Craig is asking, is there any chance Lily doesn't take this? I think she probably will take it, but I think it's very close between Emma Stone and Lily
I
Gladstone.
think Lily will too. It's tight.
Lily definitely has the narrative for sure. She's got the story. It seems like her time, but I think she just got snubbed by BAFTA. I don't think she's even nominated.
Wow,
which was shocking. So Emma Stone is trending. You know, it may be her award to win.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So what's the 5 that you would have there?
Oh, I would add. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. Go, Jeremy. Go.
Go, Jeremy.
I would add Greta Lee as well because of obvious reasons I've already talked about. And honestly, I mean, I did love Margot for sure, but with Barbie not actually being one of my favorite films of the year, it's up there, but not in my like top 23. I actually chose Anjanou Ellis Taylor for Origin, which I think is a very missed opportunity. I think for a number of reasons. It wasn't publicized very widely. It came out at the very tail end of the year and all kinds of stuff. But I think it's a very important and amazing film from Ava DuVernay, and I think her performance was absolutely astounding. So I would add that to my personal list.
What'd you think of Origin, John?
I haven't seen Origin yet.
Interesting.
It's I don't think it's gotten the wide release, or it just got a wide release.
Yeah.
But I know that's on the tip of a lot of people's tongues recently, because I wasn't sure if that was going to have sort of the To Leslie moment for this year. You guys remember last year with Andrea Riseborough, where there was this sort of organic, maybe not so organic push to have, her in best lead actress. And I know that the filmmaker has been on social media a lot, pushing the film and handing out flyers because people aren't going to see it. So I thought that had a chance to maybe pop up over the nominations, but it's another one of those late releases where it's tough to make a push when people haven't seen the film. Exactly.
All right, what's your 5 there, John?
You know, when I did my picks, I really went off the wall. The only one that I have from the actual list is Emma Stone, who's my favorite performance of the year. Lily Gladstone's right there. She's probably in like the 6 range. But I have Kaylee Spaney in Priscilla. I don't know what it is with me and Elvis movies. I have Sophie Wilde from Talk to Me, which was one of my favorite horror performances.
She's up there, yeah.
Of the year. A French actress named Laura Calamy in a movie called Full Time, which is it's like the most thrilling movie of the year, and it's literally about a single mother commuting to work. It's incredible, and her performance blew my mind.
I'm dying to see that one.
Yeah, it's great.
Not to ask the same type of question again. Was that an OCN partner?
It was
release?
an OCN partner.
It was.
Okay.
Yeah.
I forget who, but it is. Yeah. It was also on John Waters'
Yellow Veil or someone like that.
It was on John Waters' best films of 2023.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. It's amazing. I highly recommend it. And then my number 2 performance would be, and I had a hard time, this was my number 1 forever, was Mia Goth in Infinity Pool. Just the chances she's taking, or no one's taking chances like she is. She's incredible. Right. And she'll never be awarded because she doesn't really operate within this awards world because of the genre she's working in, but she's just brilliant.
Plus, it's a really
she'll win a.
What, Ryan?
I was just gonna say she'll win a Fangoria Chainsaw Award, probably.
Yeah.
Oh yes. I was gonna say it's a good thing you include her in her list so she doesn't kick you in the head.
I know.
Ryan and I are getting kicked in the head because we didn't include her.
Is she canceled or what? I don't know.
I don't know.
We'll see how the movie turns out first.
I support her. That extra was probably being a piece of shit and deserved it.
Oh man! All right, I think that's it for that category.
I think so.
Okay, going to the next one, and we have actress in a supporting role. This one, I don't know. I went really off the wall on this one too. John, why don't you go first on this one?
Sure. Yeah. I got 4 locks. I got Divine Joy Randolph in The Holdovers. I have Emily Blunt, Oppenheimer. I have Danielle Brooks in The Color Purple. Maybe that's not a lock. I think it's a lock. And I have Jodie Foster, Naiad. I think those ones are pretty safe bets. My fifth one, I'm having the hardest time, because for me it's a 3 or 4 headed monster. It's either Penelope Cruz for Ferrari, Sandra Hüller, The Zone of Interest, Rosamund Pike, Saltburn, and maybe, although I don't see it happening because Barbie's not getting any love, America Ferrera. So if I had to guess, I'm putting Penelope Cruz there for Ferrari, a movie that I liked a lot more than most people.
My list is fucked here. I guarantee it. So I put Divine Joy Randolph, Emily Blunt, and Danielle Brooks, and then I jumped off the deep end. Clearly, I said America Ferrera, but now that's clearly not happening. And then super wild choice here. I thought maybe they'll give some love to like a saccharine type film, and I'm going to say Rachel McAdams for Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret.
That's a good call, Ryan. I should have put her in the 5-headed monster. She was great.
Jeremy, what do you got for your guess?
I just want to say that I followed John's letterbox very thoroughly, and I'm always taking jabs at him in the comments, which include how much he enjoyed Ferrari. But I agree with that. Penelope Cruz was the best part about that movie. So she would definitely deserve a nom. I went with what I believe to be probably the 3 locks in this category: Divine Joy Randolph, Danielle Brooks, and Emily Blunt. By the way, the only love I think we're getting from Color Purple is Danielle Brooks.
Same. John.
Yeah, definitely.
I went with as we kind of discussed earlier, sticking with the Naiad theme. Once I kind of locked in Annette Bening earlier, I went with Jodie Foster for all the same reasons we discussed. And you know what? I kept America Ferrera. She has the big speech at the end of the movie. Ryan Gosling got nominated, which I thought he would. And I think and America has won at I think the Golden Globes. I believe she won. And I think why they didn't give it to both her and Margot, I don't know. But if they were going to choose one for whatever reason, they would have to choose one of the two. I think they go with America, so I kept her.
I don't know how you can give it to America Ferrera and not Margot. I mean, different categories. I know it's just that would make no sense. But maybe it will be a Barbie party. Everybody but Margot's invited.
That would be wild.
Everybody but Barbie.
So I'm going to go out on a limb here before I scroll it, and I think John is probably 5 for 5 here, including Penelope.
You think so? Okay.
That's what it feels like. That feels like the right answer now. So hopefully Penelope's not the first one, and there's a little bit of drama. First, Emily Blunt, Oppenheimer.
We knew that. That was a lock.
Second, Danielle Brooks, Color
Another
Purple.
lock.
America Ferrera?
Come on.
What?
I mean, I'm not happy about it, but I'm happy about it.
Okay, that's the first. That's the first egregious one of the night.
I am shocked. Number 4, Jodie Foster. Okay, Jeremy's still in the running.
All
and
right.
then number 5, Divine Joy Randolph. Wow, good job, Jeremy.
Thank you. By the way, Divine's going to take it. She's been speaking.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think there's a choice.
She's this season's Ki-Hoo Kwan. She's like
100%.
She's sweeping.
Yeah, there's not even an option here. Nobody else should even campaign.
Wow, that is a major surprise. And I knew she was part of it. I almost didn't even write her name down when I did my little list, my little tier. Wow, that is shocking. But you know what? That monologue, it's everywhere.
I think it's all about that monologue.
It better be. That's all it is. That's
literally her character.
That's her moment, and it's literally a moment. So, but
by the way, we all know the Oscars are thinking about acceptance speeches as well.
Yeah,
potential acceptance speeches, and America A has a great story attached to her, and B is really, really good at articulating her thoughts and giving powerful speeches, not just at acceptance ceremonies, but even just in interviews. I've watched a bunch of interviews with her. I saw her live twice at 2 different PGA screenings for Barbie. And after almost every question she answered, she got an applause because she's very long-winded about it, but she really gives some really thoughtful and poignant responses to her That's tough.
Well, I have some advice for America. You might want to give that speech to your family at home on Oscar night, because you're not giving it on Oscar night. Sorry.
No.
Oh man,
It's not.
this. So do we think that this makes Greta still in the conversation for best director?
She's definitely in play. But now, I mean, you have Gosling, you have Ferreira.
Best picture, most likely.
Definitely best picture. She's definitely. I mean, she's got to be in play. I mean, if you're not nominating her for director, then what are you even doing with Barbie?
Right.
She's in play, but I don't know. It's still wishy-washy for me.
So as far as ones that we wanted, this is not a category again that I had any that was, man, I really want this person in here over some of these others. The only other one that I really want to throw out there and highlight, she never would have been nominated because this is not a film the Academy would ever recognize. Ayo Adibri in Bottoms is a revelation in that movie. She was hilarious.
Yeah. Not only is that not a film people would consider due to its budget and position, but they don't really acknowledge comedy, like flat out, comedies either, straight up.
She's been getting a lot of love for her role in
The Bear.
The Bear, which I haven't seen, but
I haven't watched it either, believe it or not.
She's so good when she's accepting those awards. She's like been my favorite part of award season so far. And I haven't even watched the show.
I adore her as a person, and I haven't watched The Bear, but if it's what everybody's saying it is, and all the things she's winning, I loved her in Bottoms. I loved her in. She has a small role in Theater Camp as well. A movie that I keep telling people to pair with Bottoms as a double feature. They go hand in hand so well.
She also does the voice in the new Ninja Turtles too, which I thought awesome.
Yeah.
All right, John, what were the ones that you wanted for this one?
My number one performance is Divine Joy Randolph. That's just, nothing needs to be said about it. Behind her, I actually have Tilda Swinton in The Killer. The only role smaller than America Ferrera's monologue.
Interesting.
But it really made an impact on me. It was one of my favorite moments in any film this year was when we saw Tilda Swinton in The Killer. I actually have, this is a really off the wall one, Alyssa Sutherland, Evil Dead Rise, because I think she plays the sister Ellie. I think that performance is one of the, for me, it's like almost horror icon stats. I think it is brilliant what she does in that film as the sister.
The demon.
The demon, yeah. I love that movie. I know that movie kind of was divisive, but I thought Evil Dead Rise was great. I have Claire Foy with All of Us Strangers at number 3. Brilliant. The whole cast is brilliant. That's a beautiful movie. And number 2, this is for Jeremy, because I know he loved the movie, Vanessa Kirby and Napoleon. You just can't take your eyes off her. It's such a chaotic, beautiful performance. And her chemistry with Joaquin Phoenix in that movie is off the charts.
Well, once again, even though I disagree with John's opinion about the movie, we at least agree about the nominee, or potential nominee. Vanessa Kirby, once again, much like Penelope Cruz and Ferrari, was the best part, in my opinion, about Napoleon, which was otherwise. Whew. I had.
We'll talk more about Napoleon in a little while.
When it gets nominated for nothing. I of course, Divine Joy Randolph is a given. Number 1 for me. I kept America Ferrera on the list. I really like her a lot. Maybe it's because I'm a big Superstore fan. I don't know. I kept Emily Blunt as well, because I just like her and I thought she was great. I did include Penelope Cruz because I thought she was the best part about Ferrari, and one of my favorite performances in a supporting role this entire year. And I included Rosamund Pike because I thought she was like one of the best parts about Saltburn too. I mean, I overall liked Saltburn. It gets a little lower on my rating each time I rewatch it, which I did a lot over the holidays with my parental units. But
what a movie to watch with your parents.
Yeah, my mom didn't like it. My dad did. But Rosamund Pike is absolutely. I mean, her and Richard E. Grant together specifically, but she's a riot.
She's great. She's great in everything.
Yeah.
I think I know the answer that you will both give for this, but now that we are at this point, is there any chance in the world that Napoleon or The Killer gets any love tonight?
Yes. No. Yes. Below the line stuff. Napoleon.
Oh, below the line for Napoleon, sure.
Yeah. And the killer has a real chance at sound.
Interesting. Okay.
I wish.
I love the movie.
I love the killer, and I love the sound design. For some reason, I feel like they're skipping over it, but
it might get blanked. It might get blanked.
All right, next one up, we have animated feature film. That's an interesting order to take this. This must be alphabetical. Okay.
Oh, that makes sense.
Animated, Jeremy. What are your guesses for this one?
Okay, let me find it on my list.
This is way down the list. Hold on.
Yeah. I have.
But while you're searching, I may be speaking out of turn. I feel like this is the only one that I had no issues. I think this is 5 locks.
Really? Okay.
I think it's 4 locks.
I have 2 locks. So I might be lost here.
I have 4 locks and then a wild card. I went with. Well, I'll start with my 4 locks. Across the Spider-Verse, duh. Boy and the Heron, duh. Elemental, duh. And Super Mario Bros, duh. My 5th one, it could have been a lot of things. It could have been Wish, which was terrible. It could have been Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which seemed like the obvious choice for a while. But based on a recent push in certain awards, other award ceremonies, and on in the market and for your consideration market, I went with Suzumi.
Interesting.
So we'll see.
John, what do you got?
Spider-Verse, obviously. Boy and the Heron, obviously. Elemental, yes. I have Ninja Turtles. That's 4. And my 5th slot, it's a movie I haven't seen, but it has a lot of the precursors. A movie called Nimona. Have you seen that, Jeremy? It's on Netflix.
I'm not.
John, we have identical list. Completely agree.
Really? Yeah, I haven't. You're more into animation than I am. I haven't seen a lot of animation this year. I've seen my top 4 that I gave, but I have not seen Nimona.
So neither of you have Super Mario Brothers.
No, not at all.
No, I actually enjoyed Super Mario Brothers, but I don't. It could be there.
I enjoyed it as well. I think the 4 that you listed first are to me the obvious locks, and then Nimona really has the story. It was supposed to be, I believe, a Disney film, and then they walked away and produced it, and it got released through Netflix. And so it was this separate group of animators that basically went out on their own and were able to get this released somehow. But I think with that, it's like a redemption arc for something that could have easily been forgotten. So I think those are a really good 5. I think Suzume would be number 6. I think Super Mario Brothers would be number 7 for me.
I might be the odd one out here since I haven't seen that one that you guys are referencing. I think you're mistaken about Super Mario Brothers. Personally, I didn't love it either. By the way, in terms of personal opinion, I did
like it.
I didn't love it. I thought it was fine. But I'm thinking about in the perspective of the Academy. So we'll see.
I get that. And that's like Elemental to me. I don't think the story was mind-blowing, but the animation was next level great for Elemental. That's the only reason I've got it as a lock. And it's Pixar. I mean, you may as well just write in the Oscar when they have something coming out. All right. First one on the list, The Boy and the Heron. Not shocked at all. Number 2, Elemental. Not shocked at all. Number 3, Nimona.
Oh, there it is.
I mean, that's a big deal.
That's a big deal. Yeah, I mean, no, I don't see how Mario Brothers gets in now with that there.
Yeah, because we know at least one of them. So number 4, Robot Dreams.
What is that? I don't know what that is.
I don't even know what this movie is.
So wait a second. That means maybe no Turtles. Wow.
Yeah, it's got to be no Turtles.
Because Spider-Verse is 5.
It better be.
Yeah.
Whew, thank goodness.
So I mean,
no Mario and no Turtles.
What in the hell is Robot Dreams?
I have no idea.
That feels egregious. I'm sorry.
Ninja
Turtles was brilliant.
I'm literally searching this up on IMDb right now. I've not heard of Robot Dreams.
Does anybody in the anybody in the chat know about Robot Dreams? I'm surprised. I'm on, not to pat myself on the back, but I'm usually in the know about this kind of stuff. I'm a bit shocked here.
It looks like something. It looks like something just from the stills. Looks like something Deaf Crocodile would put out.
It does. It looks international too. Oh, it's Spanish. It looks like.
Yeah,
Spanish and French, and the languages in Spanish. Wow, that is very surprising.
So no Super Mario Brothers, no Turtles.
I mean, I'm happy something like just from the brief glance I have of it here on IMDb, I'm happy something like this is getting that love.
The animation looks fantastic.
And I like to see it in everything that's nominated, so I will now see Robot Dreams.
I have to watch that and Nimona.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's a wild out of nowhere pick. That's cool. It's nice that they got The Boy and the Heron was the obvious one, but to get another international title is really cool for them. Huh. All right. Any others that people would want to throw in, like desperate to see Turtles in there?
I would have loved to see Turtles in there. And I watched the second time I watched Ninja Turtles, it occurred to me that Ninja Turtles is like seriously the most legitimate like New York movie of the decade. Seriously, it's so New York. It just like oozes that beautiful New York gritty.
I love Turtles. I really wish it was a part of this for sure. I mean, I've not seen Robot Dreams, and I didn't finish Nimona, but I couldn't say that it's better than Robot Dreams necessarily. But Turtles definitely deserve to be a part of it.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Especially just based on animation. It's drawn amazingly.
It is.
I like Turtles a lot more on a second viewing. Ryan knows how I felt about it the first time.
It helps a lot for Jeremy's viewing when he's literally in the room with Seth Rogen and they're giving him free pizza.
Drinking Pinot. I did enjoy it a lot more on the second time and definitely bumped up my personal score on it. I feel like I can't judge this because I haven't seen two of the categories. I would love to throw. At the very least, because I haven't seen Nimona and Robot Dreams, I'll throw out Elemental and put Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in there at the very least.
Interesting.
I didn't love Elemental.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's okay.
Again, gorgeous. Just the plot line did hardly nothing for me.
Yeah. A lot of people not a lot of people. Somebody mentioned that Robot Dreams is a Neon release, and I do. As far as the company is concerned, I trust Neon fairly strongly. So totally. I look forward to watching it.
All right. That was animated feature. So next we have cinematography. I got to be honest, I did not guess for every category. And this is one that I did not guess for. I am a busy person.
You sure are.
I think we got a couple obvious picks here, of course. I think Oppenheimer is definitely going to be a part of this. I would be pretty surprised if Killers didn't be a part of this.
Mm-hmm.
Who else you guys got?
Who do you want to go first?
Go ahead,
Jeremy, I guess.
Yes, Oppenheimer. Yes, Killers. Yes, Poor Things. I think those three.
Poor Things too. Yeah.
I think those three are locks. I think they're gonna, again, almost solely based around its Oscar baitiness. I think they're gonna give it to Maestro. And again, a very kind of wild card. Listen, I think we're far enough along here that I can just say that the two I was balance beaming back and forth as my final Best Picture pick was either Saltburn or American Fiction. And so when I said earlier about how I kind of split the votes accordingly throughout the rest of my picks, we got Sterling K. Brown, which I was right about, thank goodness. We got, I put Barry Keoghan in there at one point, which I was incorrect about, and it was actually Jeffrey Wright. So we're probably leaning more American Fiction. But because of that, I went with Saltburn for this one, which I did like the cinematography a lot in Saltburn. And I thought, even though American Fiction's higher on my list as a film, I thought the cinematography was better in Saltburn, if we're talking about that specifically between those two, which is, again, the balancing beam between those two is what I was basing my final pick on in this category.
Certainly. What do we got, John?
Oppenheimer, Killers of Flower Things, obviously. I agree, Maestro. My 5, my wild card. I'm going with, for me, it's either Saltburn, it's The Zone of Interest, which I haven't seen yet. It's impossible to find.
Really?
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to see that. That's the one like glaring omission that I haven't seen yet. But
we gotta fix that, John.
Yeah.
We gotta fix that.
Yeah, I know, totally. I know.
John, knowing what you like, you are going to love Zone of Interest.
I know.
We'll talk when we end the stream.
But my pick is one of my favorite movies of the year, which has not been talked about enough. El Conde.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Spanish film. Yes, no, it's a Chilean film. Black and white. Vampire movie, one of the most gorgeous movies of the year. Stunning cinematography, black and white. There's so much blood. It's black and white, so the blood is like very tar-like, and there's some of the most beautiful, and this is a weird thing to say, the most beautiful flying scenes, like people flying, like gorgeous. And so I'm really hoping that that's there at the fifth hole.
It's near the top of my list. Well, near the top of my runner-ups list, which is still very high. Of some of my one of my favorite films of last year. Unlike Ferrari and Napoleon, it's one that when I saw John's Letterboxd score, it made me want to watch it more because I hadn't seen it yet. And it's one that we agree on. I gave it 4.5 stars. I really loved it a lot. I don't think there's any chance the Academy gives it any love, unfortunately.
Oh, I really hope you're wrong, because this is one of the ones that like it's like feels like it's the the little train that could, I feel like it's such an underdog pick, and hoping it's there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, first one up is
Yes,
I sit down corrected, and listen,
wow.
I'm thrilled about that. I've never been more thrilled to be wrong.
That's amazing. That's amazing for the Academy to recognize that film. That's awesome.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Killers, Maestro, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. Wow.
All right. That's
Congrats,
great. I mean,
that's great.
One of these things is not like the other.
Wow.
I'm thrilled about that. I think it's very deserving. I didn't think it stood a chance, but then again, Pablo Larraín did Spencer, which got a lot of love by the Academy.
Yeah, so the Academy likes him. You're right. Yeah,
they like him. So maybe I shouldn't have been as dismissive.
Any thoughts on someone that you would replace on here, or any guesses on who's going to take it, you think?
Well, I have 3 of the 5. I have Oppenheimer as my number 1, which is just a visual bombardment. We don't talk about that anymore. I have El Conde as my number 2. I have Poor Things as my number 3, totally inventive. I have at number 4 that movie, the Italian movie, The 8 Mountains again. It's just beautiful, 4x3 photography. It's just stunning. And then number 5, I actually have Society of the Snow, a movie that I
can't wait to see that one.
Was just amazing. And I loved the movie Alive growing up. Like that movie really just stayed with me for some reason. The cannibalism and that really affected me as a kid. And so when I found out this movie was about the Uruguayan soccer team, I was so pumped, and it did not disappoint. It is phenomenal.
It's a great movie.
Yeah.
I did not do this category in terms of my personal picks, but off the cuff, I would keep Oppenheimer, of course. I would keep Poor Things. Quite frankly, I'd keep El Conde. I, of course, would ditch Maestro, and I would honestly ditch Killers of a Flower Moon. I would, off the top of my head, I would add Perfect Days. I thought it had beautiful cinematography. Wim Wenders' new film. And honestly, I'm going to go Dream Scenario.
That's a good call.
Those are the 2 I would swap out.
Interesting.
What about Saltburn?
I like Saltburn. I like those 2. I like those 2 movies I just said more.
All right. Next up is costume design. Yet another one I did not do. Yeah. This one.
You want me to start us off, Ryan?
Yeah, go ahead and start us off.
Yeah, I think that there's 3 locks. Barbie, Poor Things, Killers of the Flower Moon.
I would agree.
At number 4, I have Oppenheimer, which I don't think is a lock, but I feel like Oppenheimer is going to be in almost every category. And at number 5, Napoleon, Mr. Bonaparte himself.
Which, by the way, if it's going to be in any category, I think maybe you're right for this category. I didn't even cross my mind. Napoleon was not a thought that crossed my mind in any of these categories. But I think you could be right. You could be right. I think you're actually also probably right about Oppenheimer, quite frankly, which I did not.
I feel like it's weird if Oppenheimer gets it for this one.
Really?
It just feels like they're going to put that in every category. It really does.
Just feel like it feels like an everything everywhere sweep.
Yep, everybody wants a piece of it.
Yeah.
They do.
He had to show the shirt. Oh man! All right.
Yeah. Well, Ryan, and any fan of the show knows I always wear a themed shirt for the show.
Of course.
Last year's Best Picture winner, baby. I have Barbie, Poor Things, Killers of the Flower Moon, 3 locks. I might regret not putting Oppenheimer. I still don't think Napoleon, although I could see it happening. I went with Saltburn for this one as well, and I, here costume design, visual effects, makeup effects. These are the type of categories where we start straying a little bit into the more popular films and not just the art housey films. So I went with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
I could see that.
I could definitely see that. It's definitely deserving.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Number 1, Barbie. Not much of a surprise. Killers of the Flower Moon. Not much of a surprise.
No
Napoleon. Oppenheimer.
John, a 5 out of 5 again.
5 out of 5.
And that's why we pay John.
Yeah, right.
Oh wait, I forgot. Was I supposed
Wait,
to
you're paying John?
Interesting.
I'm just happy to see Mr. Bonaparte there. Repping Ridley Scott at 86 years old.
Jesus,
making a brilliant.
By the way, to each their own. But I went with one of my coworkers after I saw Napoleon. I was like, do I actually even like Ridley Scott? I don't know. So I went through his IMDb, and it's like I like maybe 2 movies from him.
Oh,
so
wow.
I don't know what I was expecting going into Napoleon.
Banger after banger, man.
Any big ones that you would switch out here that really want to highlight?
Costumes. I mean, I actually did my list. Napoleon, number 1.
Oh, gotta love that.
Poor Things, number 2. Weird and Wonderful.
Yeah.
Number 3, I actually have Priscilla, which I thought was. I mean,
it's an Elvis movie.
The costumes were the character. I mean, they were as big a part of that role as as the screenplay. 4, I have Killers, it's a period piece, and 5, I actually put Ferrari, period piece. Costumes. That's what they do.
I did not do this, but I would keep Poor Things. Poor Things would be my number 1. And Barbie I would keep on my list, honestly. The costume, just the colors. We all know Greta was highly inspired by Jacques Tati for that film. And I'll keep Killers. I wasn't a huge fan of that movie, but the costumes were great. It is a period piece. And you know what? Not just to blow smoke up John's ass, but I'll keep Napoleon. And I will. I'll swap out. I don't know. I guess I'll keep Oppenheimer. I have no problem with this list.
That was the longest way to say, yep, I agree.
I don't know. I do think I mean, something like Guardians, which I chose. I think the costumes are a lot more extravagant.
Well, and what else? What else are we awarding? I mean, Oppenheimer it's just close. I get it that it's technically a period piece. They didn't have to do a whole lot of work for this. I guarantee.
Yeah, I would swap out Oppenheimer for something like Guardians. It would be my only switch. Otherwise, I like this list, even though I didn't like Napoleon.
I appreciate the accuracy of the Oppenheimer costumes, but I don't think it took all that much work compared to some of these others. Anyways, I also like John's subtle, not so subtle insult about us not doing those couple categories. Moving on. Oh boy, directing.
Oh man, this is a big boy.
This is the one that's going to make or break us with that Greta nominee.
All right. Yeah, this I'll go first on this one. I'll put my ass on the line because I feel like this one is going to be tough. I got Nolan as an obvious, Scorsese as an obvious, Lanthimos as an obvious, and then my last two I feel like are a little less obvious, but I really hope these are the case. I think Alexander Payne is a great choice for this one, and I'm going to go with Glazer. I think that he directed the hell out of that movie.
Mm-hmm.
What do you got, John?
I think you got the three locks are Nolan, Scorsese, and Lanthimos. I also have Alexander Payne. I think he's just trending in the right direction right now.
Same.
And number 5, Greta Gerwig. I mean, if you're not gonna nominate Greta Gerwig for Barbie, then why is it even here? Why are we talking about it in Best Picture? I mean, it's
Are we talking about Best Supporting Actress, Best Supporting Actor?
I mean, it's if we're not nominating Greta Gerwig for Barbie, then I don't really get it. And there's going to be an uproar if she's not on this list.
I agree 100% with that.
Jeremy, anything different?
Yes. While I agree with John that there will be an uproar if Greta's not on this list, I'd not include her because I saw the patterns, and for some reason I felt like she was getting snubbed. I'm upset about it because I think she directed the shit out of this Barbie movie. I don't think anybody else could have made a Barbie movie like
Not
this.
at all. Not at all.
But I don't know. I have a bad feeling about it. I have the 3 locks, of course, Nolan, Scorsese, and Lanthimos. I think they're going to stick with their little buddy boy, Bradley Cooper. And then I also have Jonathan Glazer. Because
interesting.
We'll see.
5 men, huh?
Interesting.
Unfortunately, that's what I think they're going to go with. I don't agree with it. I have 2 women on my personal list.
All right, here we go. First up.
Whoa!
Okay.
Wow! Oh, so
another male.
They're going Trier instead of Gerwig.
Interesting.
Wait, we'll see. That's surprising, but also not surprising because it's a great.
Well, he won at the Golden Globe,
and they clearly love this movie.
Yeah,
the Academy clearly loves Anatomy of a Fall. Next up, Scorsese, Nolan. All right, Yorgos, and finally, Glazer.
Wow.
No Alexander Payne.
No Payne.
Okay, that's also very surprising. As soon as Justine was there, I really thought it was going to be Payne over Glazer.
Did the Oscars like Alexander Payne? Has he ever been for Sideways? Maybe
I feel like for Sideways he had to have been in contention.
I don't know. That's none of those
wow.
are shocking, surprising, definitely. Yeah, I mean, if there was any doubt whatsoever, if Anatomy of Fall or Zone of Interest were not going to be Best Picture, there's not now.
Jeez, that is interesting. So above the line, Barbie is only getting Ryan Gosling and America Ferrera.
I'm sure everyone's going to take this with grace and have really structured, normal, reasonable, rational opinions about this.
I bet film Twitter was super calm today.
Totally.
We missed all of it.
I'm so glad I missed it, actually. It's actually great.
Oh man, this is a super interesting choice.
I didn't love Barbie. It wasn't for me. I did enjoy it the second time I watched it more than the first time. But if we're not nominating Greta Gerwig for Barbie, then I just don't understand. I don't understand how it's, a Best Picture nominee, because it's a fully fledged, auteurs, vision, and it's just, I don't know how it doesn't get director. I really don't.
Yeah.
I also didn't love Barbie. I liked it a lot. I liked it way more than I ever expected to. It is in my runners-up list of last year. But I think if it was deserving of any category in this in these nominations, it is directing. I mean, Greta Gerwig knocked it out of the park with that. More so than any of the actor awards that it has received nominations for. So that is surprising to me. I know we're not highlighting too many comments, but I will say I agree with this John Stump, who says Payne tends to get nominated and win for screenplays over directing.
Gotcha. And I think that the holdover screenplay will win best original. It's a favorite right now.
And that's not even one he wrote.
That's true.
Most of his stuff he does write, but not this one.
So on this one, I got to admit, if it was my wish list, this is my wish list, except instead of Anatomy of a Fall, I'd have Celine Song for Past Lives.
100%. I have, I'm trying to find mine. Oh, there it is. I have Celine, I have Yorgos, I have Nolan, I have Glazer, and I have Greta Gerwig.
Interesting. So no Scorsese.
Yeah, I mean, I like Scorsese, but I don't know. Maybe it's a combination of him having his time to shine on plenty of occasions. Maybe it's the fact that I didn't love Killers of the Flower Moon, but
yeah, Killers of the Flower Moon, I liked it a lot more when I walked out of the theater, but it slowly has fallen from my consciousness. It hasn't really stayed with me, and it's not a movie I really have any interest in revisiting because of how dark it is. It's a real downer, and it's over 3 hours.
And because of how long it is.
It's really long, and you kind of feel it too. Now that I think back, it's not one of those snappy 3-hour films.
I love that we're talking about darkness while Zone of Interest is on the screen. Because speaking of dark,
we're like, Zone of Interest, stay. And Weapons Glazer is doing something unique with that movie, and it's not 4 hours long.
Yeah, that's true.
My picks were Nolan, obviously number one. This is his category. He will be winning this category. It's the single greatest achievement of the year, and it will be celebrated as such. Yorgos Lanthimos is not far behind. Any other year, I feel like the Yorgos. I mean, because that is that movie is just the embodiment of that filmmaker, and it's really it's like that movie probably feels like what it looks like inside of his brain.
I feel bad for his therapist then.
Number 3, I have David Fincher with The Killer. This is Fincher getting Mank out of his system, and I'm here for it. At number 4, I have Brandon Cronenberg for Infinity Pool, the most exciting young voice in film, and I'm putting him above guys like Ari Aster, Robert Eggers, even the Safdies. I think he is at the top of that, that young auteur thing going on right now. And number 5, I have Ridley Scott. You have to put him in. 86 years old. 86 years old. And he made the historical epic since, wait for it. Come back, Jeremy. Come on back. Since The Last Duel, directed by Ridley Scott.
Which I also did not like.
I forgot. Which one of those two was the Elvis movie?
Oh yeah, Brazil's not on your list. What, you're not a big Sofia Coppola fan?
I mean, if you're gonna champion Napoleon because he's 86, didn't you love the Friedkin movie from this year?
Love the Friedkin movie, and it's pretty darn close. I should have added that just for posthumously awarding him. I'm sure he'd be really thrilled to have John DeMarsico's pick. Honestly, I thought the King County Mutiny, is that what it's called? County Court Mutiny. I thought it was great, and it was really a good movie for him to literally go off into the sunset too.
Please tell me you didn't like House of Gucci, John.
Oh God, I hated that movie.
Okay, at least we can agree on that.
Yes.
I do agree with John about Brandon Cronenberg, though. I mean, I like Ari Aster a lot too. I think both of them for me are 3 for 3, which is totally ironic, kind of on the same playing field in terms of where their careers are.
Well, I'm the 2023 jackass that is still so far behind that I've not seen Beau is Afraid or Infinity Pool.
Oh, come on, Ryan.
I know.
Don't admit that on the stream. Come on.
I'm sorry. But I've seen Zone of Interest and you haven't.
Ouch.
All right. I think next is probably editing if it's documentary. John, are you the only one that did this one?
I gotta be honest. Here's what I do. I wait for the nominees for documentary to be released, and then I watch them. So I'm gonna be pretty useless in this one. But although I did do guesses, just from the stuff that I've read. Hold on, where's it at?
I'm gonna come up with guesses off the top of my head because I completely forgot about documentary for some reason.
Go, because I can't find it in my notes.
I'm gonna say Anselm, Wim Wenders documentary. I'm gonna say Still, the Michael J. Fox documentary. I'm gonna say, the Arnold. Do you think the Arnold one will count? That's more of a limited series.
I don't think so because that's got it's like multiple episodes. Isn't it?
It's a couple episodes.
Yeah.
What was that other? Hang on a second. Oh geez. Feel free to hop in at any time, John, while I'm looking for this.
Listen, and I can give you these 5 movies. I have not seen any of these movies. This is just what I kind of have compiled after reading a bunch of stuff this morning. Yeah.
Defending My Life, the Albert Brooks doc would be my third pick.
Those are good picks. The ones that seem to be the favorites are 20 Days in Mariupol, Beyond Utopia, The Four Daughters, Going to Mars, the Nikki Giovanni project. I don't know what that is. And American Symphony, maybe, or Bobby Wine, The People's President. Those are the 6, I think. Maybe, and also Still, which is the only one that I've actually seen, the Michael J. Fox story, which I thought was great.
Yeah. I think Still will be on the list.
Yeah.
I've heard The Four Daughters is great.
I have too. I'm actually very anxious to watch that one.
All right, here we go. Bobby Wine. Good job, John. The Eternal Memory, Four Daughters, To Kill a Tiger, and 20 Days in Mariupol.
So no Beyond Utopia.
And no Still.
That was no Still, yeah.
And no Vin Wenders love.
Beyond Utopia was one of those ones I read this morning was like a lock, and it's not here. So maybe that's
the Eternal Memory is another one I was. Some of these I haven't even heard of, but Four Daughters and Eternal Memory I was quite looking forward to checking out and just haven't had a chance.
Apparently, the Eternal Memory has nobody in production because there's
no nobody worked on that film.
No,
it just conjured into existence. Any other than Still? Any ones that you both saw this year that you really want to throw out there?
I mean, the other 2 I mentioned. I loved Anselm and I loved the Albert Brooks Defending My Life doc. But then again, I'm a comedian.
I'll let you know in a few weeks when I watch some of these.
Perfect. Next up is documentary short. I'm assuming this is even less. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's look at all 5 of these. The ABC's of Book Banning, The Barber of Little Rock, Island in Between, The Last Repair Shop, and Nine and WIPO. All right.
Any chance you folks can talk amongst yourselves for like 2 minutes, YP?
Sure.
Sure. We can talk about Oppenheimer's editing for the next 2 minutes.
Right up John's alley.
And editing, and it will be winning.
I don't think anybody else has a chance. It literally just could have been Oppenheimer nominated for this.
I mean, it's very showy, but it's also like I mentioned earlier, it's got 3 distinct parts, and the way that they weave those in, it's kind of brilliant. And the interesting thing is, I'm not sure that any one of those 3 parts actually works on its own, but the way that the film is edited, it's I just think it's brilliant.
It is definitely special primarily because of the editing. I mean, not only the 3 parts, but the like the flashback on Robert Downey Jr.'s parts and the intercutting Florence Pugh in the little questioning room and everything else that's happening. That's all that film Twitter talked for the first week after this was released was Florence going nude for that scene. Yeah.
Ironic that I got nominated for costumes.
Oh man. Yeah, I think that it definitely has this at lock.
Yeah, there's some of those scenes, when his inner turmoil is, building, and they intercut all of like those shots of like the seismic fusion and fission stuff. I mean, that was really, like with the score and
the score is a big part of that.
It was like, wow, this is something in IMAX 70 millimeter. Like it was like, whoa, this is incredible.
So I will throw out the only reason that I hated the second half of Oppenheimer is because of my experience. 3 hour, 15, 20-minute movie, whatever it is. And it came out in August. And I am in a theater in Missouri where it's humid as shit outside. So we're all excited to go get free air conditioning for 3.5 hours. And about an hour 40 into it, the air conditioning kicks off.
No.
But like by the time right around when the bomb exploded, I was literally sitting in sweat watching this movie. It was the worst movie to be stuck with no air conditioning in.
Oh, so it was a 4D film for you then.
Brutal. Yeah.
All right, film editing. John and I already gave our choices. I'm just kidding. Jeremy, since you're back, who do you think is going to be here for editing?
I think, let's find it here. Clearly Oppenheimer, clearly Killers of the Flower Moon, clearly Poor Things. I guess those are the 3 locks, I would say. Maybe there's 4 locks. I think actually Zone of Interest is a lock for this category.
Oh, yeah, I could see that.
And then I also have the holdovers.
My list actually differs.
I agree with you guys. I was heading out and I heard you say that Oppenheimer's winning, which I agree with.
Yeah. I have Oppenheimer, Killers of the Flower Moon as my locks. I have the holdovers at number 3. Definitely not a lock, but I think it should be there. I have Anatomy of a Fall at 4. And I actually put Barbie ahead of Poor Things here. I don't agree with it, but I do think the Academy might be going with Barbie for editing. I don't know why I put that there, but it's there at number 5. I'm looking right at it.
Do you still feel that way, John, after what we've seen happen to Barbie so far? I'm
not sure I felt that way this morning, but I definitely put it at 5 above Poor Things. I'm sticking to the rule. I'm not changing anything. So I don't think it's going to be there. I kind of wish I put Poor Things, honestly.
So mine is different than both yours by a lot. I've got Oppenheimer and Poor Things as what I thought were the only 2 locks. And then I have Anatomy of a Fall just because I totally saw them just loving this thing. I have Zone of Interest. I thought that was going to be a wild card pick, but then Jeremy said it was going to be in there too. And then my real wild pick, I think looking back on how the film is crafted, I think we're looking at an out of left field choice. I really think that they should give some consideration to Past Lives. I think the way that they intertwine the stories together and really start to age the characters in a way only works with proper editing on this. And I think that's more apparent than something like a Barbie or like the holdovers. Like it's not poorly edited for the holdovers, but I think Past Lives took a lot more finesse to edit properly.
That's a great call, Ryan. I agree with that.
Couldn't agree more. It's in my personal list. I hope it's on this list. I hope I'm incorrect.
It's not.
I don't think you guys might be right about Anatomy of a Fall, which I did not include.
I think Past Lives is really only going to get Best Picture, unfortunately.
So
all right, here we go. Anatomy of a Fall. There we go. Holdovers.
There it is.
Killers, Oppenheimer, and Poor
Things.
Things.
Poor Things. You know, why did I?
So no Zone of Interest, which I thought was a lock for some reason.
Yeah, interesting.
So I think we all got 4, right?
Yeah.
My personal list, I had number 5. I have Ferrari because I mean it's a car movie, which is a cheat code for editing. I have that movie Full Time about the French woman's commute to work. I mean,
the other car movie.
That movie is like to make a commute to work thrilling. You have to have great editing.
Number 3, John has Gran Turismo.
Number 3. Number 3, I have Infinity Pool. Very showy, especially during the orgy scene. I mean, you guys, Ryan hasn't seen it yet. Jeremy remembers that scene, I'm sure, especially in the NC-17 version. Number 2, I have Oppenheimer. And number 1, which I think is the hands down best editing I saw in any film this year was All of Us Strangers. The whole film is just a magic trick to me, and it's totally seamless. I thought it was brilliant.
Interesting. My wish list title, other than Past Lives, this is actually the one that I was going to throw in for Talk to Me. This and Sound Design, I think, are the only two that I think Talk to Me would ever really appear on my list.
I could see that.
I would keep Poor Things. I would keep Oppenheimer, of course. My other three picks would 100% be Past Lives. I would put Zone of Interest in there personally, and I'm going to give some love to Beau is Afraid, because another 3-hour movie that didn't feel like 3 hours to me, much like Oppenheimer.
Interesting. Yeah, that's another one that's probably not getting anything tonight.
No,
I'm sure. All right.
What we got?
International, which I do not have a list for this. God, even on the things I've watched, I've unfortunately very light on international.
Well, keep in mind, Ryan, they're considering Past Lives an international film.
Oh,
it's enough Korean. That's
100%. Are we sure about that? I think, was that the Globes that did that? I don't know that the Academy is doing that.
Oh, really?
Does language alone dictate that?
Because it's an international feature. It's not films in a different language.
Right.
It's a different category. So I don't. It's an American made film. So I don't think it's in international.
Okay.
Yeah.
The only one I ever would have been able to put on there is When Evil Lurks, because I love that movie, but never would be considered.
No, never.
That'll be my picks.
What do you got, John?
There's 3 locks here. I think 2 locks, maybe 3. The Zone of Interest and Society of the Snow are locks. For some reason, Anatomy of a Fall was not submitted in this category, so it will not be appearing here.
Oh, geez. Well, that takes away 2 of mine then.
Yeah. Number 3, Fallen Leaves should be there. It's getting a lot of love. Number 4 is a movie that I haven't seen, but it's on a lot of folks whose opinions I respect, top favorite film of the year, The Taste of Things. Have you seen that yet, Jeremy?
No, but I've been hearing the same thing, and I'm desperate to see it.
Yeah, and number 5, I'm going with the documentary that was already nominated, 20 Days in Mariupol.
I hear The Taste of Things is incredible, and Juliette Binoche is supposed to be amazing.
Can't wait.
All right, let's take a look then. We got.
Did Jeremy do his guesses?
I did not.
You didn't write them out, did you?
I did.
Oh, well, shit. I bet I can tell you which one from Italy's there.
Whatever we just saw, I have no idea what that was.
Two of mine are not going to be included because I was incorrect about Past Lives, and I did not know about Anatomy of a Fall not being submitted. So those are 2 of my 5 picks, which will not be on the list apparently. And I have Zone of Interest. I have Society of the Snow, the 2 locks, as I agree with John. And I have not seen it yet, but it's been getting a lot of buzz, as well as being nominated at the Golden Globes, is Io Capitano, which is the first one you saw there.
Whoops, I apologize. I was getting excited. All right. Hey, Io Capitano, good job. Next up, Perfect Day.
Wow.
Hey, that makes me happy.
That is interesting.
That's great. I haven't seen it yet, but I can't wait.
Society of the Snow got some love. Teacher's Lounge.
Wow. Wait a second.
Haven't heard of it.
I've heard of it.
I think I have either.
I'm trying to think of what's getting snubbed right now. Are we not going to see Fallen Leaves? I thought that was a lock.
I did really like Fallen Leaves a lot.
I did too.
I would be bummed if that wasn't on here.
Well,
this has got to be the Zone of Interest. This has got to be the Zone of Interest.
It's got to be.
Yeah, it can't be.
Especially because it's alphabetical.
It's alphabetical. Yeah.
So that is.
So our 2 locks are on there, John, and then I got Io Capitano as well, and then basically the two I picked that were never ever going to be on here, apparently, Past Lives and Anatomy of a Fall, were taken by Teacher's Lounge and Perfect Days, which I'm thrilled about.
So no Fallen Leaves and no The Taste of Things, which is I haven't seen The Taste of Things yet, but from all accounts, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
So interesting list, really interesting list.
I would love for Perfect Days to take this, but I think it's probably Zone of Interest.
Well, let's go with your what you love list, Jeremy. What would you have rather seen here?
I can't exactly speak to Io Capitano or Teacher's Lounge since I haven't seen any. Apparently, I'm a silly Billy, says Bare Butt Gorilla Hut. Perfect Days is my third favorite film of the year. So I would 100% have that on here. Zone of Interest, I would keep. Society of the Snow, I would keep. I don't know. I mean, despite it not being submitted, I would put Anatomy of a Fall on my list. Go ahead, John. I can't think of a fifth.
Sure.
I would. You know what I would do? I just thought of it. I would do Monster, Coriata. It's a phenomenal film. That would be my 5.
I have number 5. I have El Conde, the Chilean film, which we've talked about already tonight. Number 4, a movie that I love. It's a France-Spain co-production, The Beasts. Just phenomenal movie. Society of the Snow at 3. I have another movie I've talked about already tonight, The Eight Mountains, an Italian film. And my number 1 international feature would be When Evil Lurks, an Argentinian film, which
pick, John.
Which was just one of the best horror movies of literally the century. It's so good.
I probably have that on my list.
Yeah.
I don't remember talking to you about that, Jeremy. First of all, did you both see Terrified when it came out? Same director?
I saw Terrified. I saw When Evil Lurks really early at the Beyond Fest last year.
Oh, that's right.
I would put that on this list. So I would keep Zone of Interest. I'd keep Perfect Days. I would definitely stick with what I said about Monster. And Society of the Snow, I would keep. So you know what? I'm swapping out Anatomy of a Fall since it wasn't considered anyways, and I'm gonna go with When Evil Lurks. Yes.
Nice.
If we get one thing out of this stream, it's if I would want people to watch When Evil Lurks, The Eight Mountains, and that movie The Beast that I'm talking about, because not enough people have seen those movies, and also El Conde too. I mean, that's really flown under the radar for a lot of people too. So if you take one thing out of this stream tonight, go watch those movies.
Eight Mountains is literally already on my wish list.
Yeah.
So.
I have added The Eight Mountains, Robot Dreams, and The Teacher's Lounge to my watch list throughout this stream. What was that other one you mentioned, John?
The Beasts, which is available for VOD everywhere right now, which is amazing.
Okay.
You know what? It stars the guy in the beginning of Inglourious Basterds, the French farmer. He stars in the film. I forget his name, but he is amazing in the movie.
Denis Menochet.
That guy. Yes.
All right. We are on makeup and hairstyling. Very curious to see what everybody.
This is real quick. Sorry to interrupt, but this is a good point in the comments, which we haven't been paying attention to a lot, justifiably. None of us said Godzilla -1 for international film.
Ooh, that's a great call. I totally missed that. That was probably should be in my top 5.
I bet that is getting something for effects.
I think it's getting visual effects as well.
I think so. Yeah, we all agree on that.
Maybe I would switch it out for, I don't know, maybe Society of the Snow. I don't know, but it definitely would be up there.
All right, makeup and hairstyling. Very curious what everybody says here. I feel like we got a good one here for Poor Things, probably for Killers of the Flower Moon, just because they're named everywhere. I'm going to say Oppenheimer. And I'm curious to see where else everybody's leaning. So what are the other two, if you agree with those, John?
Maestro, Poor Things, Oppenheimer. I have Society of the Snow, and a movie that I haven't seen yet, but it's by all accounts it's impressive makeup. Golda, which is a little bit of a controversial movie right now, but I think it may make an appearance here. The Beast was released in 2022 in France, but it's in this rotation.
Interesting.
For U.S. release.
U.S. releases, yeah.
What do you got for this one there, Jeremy?
Sticking with those 3 locks, Poor Things, Oppenheimer, and Killers of the Flower Moon. I did keep Barbie in this category. I think makeup and hairstyling is an important part of that film, as was costumes. And I went with Saltburn, so we'll see, which I'm regretting now.
I can see why. First up, Golda.
There it is. John,
well, a lot of I'm very confused. What happened there? Yeah, Golda. Like we keep getting the first dramatic reveal as the first one.
Our wild cards have to stop being at the top of the alphabet.
Yep, that's Golda, right. Maestro, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and Society of the Snow. No Barbie, no Killers of the Flower Moon.
Society of the Snow is so deserving of this, and the makeup in that movie is incredible. I mean, if you ever wondered what Frostbite looks like you have enough tight shots in that movie to justify this.
Interesting. All right, I am curious. Any that you all really loved that you wanted to insert into this category?
I don't think so.
I have a list here. And number 5, I have the Iron Claw for Zac Efron's haircut alone.
Smart.
Number 4, I have Society of the Snow. Number 3, I have When Evil Lurks, just for its Fulci levels of grotesque makeup and effects. Number 2, I have Evil Dead Rise. I feel like they just totally nailed the makeup in that movie. And number 1, you see a trend here. I have Infinity Pool, just the stuff nightmares are made of in that film. And you'll see when we do our top films of the year, it's going to be pretty high for me.
Interesting. All right. Next one up then, music, original score. Jeremy, any guesses for this one?
I was so better prepared last year when we did this. I don't feel as underprepared as Ryan, but I feel way less prepared. Like I slipped that in there. But I totally spaced on documentary. I only did half of my personal picks that John keeps reminding Ryan and I that he has a list. I feel way less prepared than I did last year, unfortunately. I didn't even know that Anatomy Fall hadn't been submitted for Best International Film. Anyways, so my picks for this category, which I was prepared for, that does surprise me. For Best Original Score, I have, of course, Oppenheimer, Killers of the Flower Moon, Poor Things. I think those are the 3 locks for this category. I included Zone of Interest. Fingers crossed. And Across the Spider-Verse, which was nominated at the Golden Globes, and I thought it stood a chance in this category. So we'll see.
Damn. My list exactly. I thought I was going to be the surprise with Across the Spider-Verse, but that is exactly my list. Here's hoping.
I have one different pick. So I have Oppenheimer, Killers of the Flower Moon, Poor Things, Spider-Man, and I think they might be going Indiana Jones here.
Whoa.
John Williams.
Yeah.
They love
way out of left field, but I don't disagree with you.
They
as a possibility.
John Williams.
They do love Williams.
Oh, if Dial of Destiny gets an Oscar now. All right. Music, original score.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Ooh, wow.
There's that American Fiction love that I wish I would have had in mind when I was doing my picks earlier.
Wow. Interesting.
I'm trying to remember the score in that movie. It's not jumping out to me.
It's not.
That's never a good thing. If we're trying to determine best score, you can't even remember it. That's uh-oh.
I like next the movie a lot. The score did not jump out at me.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Wow,
really?
Something's getting snubbed.
At least 2 things are getting snubbed on my list.
Interesting.
Well, they could. So far, it could just be no Across the Spider-Verse and no Zone of
Spider-Verse.
I think the 3 locks are still in play here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So I think when this goes to like the actual discussion of who's going to win, I think this is really only between two of them. I think Killers and Oppenheimer are the only two that are really in play. Anybody disagree with that?
I think it's Oppenheimer's win, obviously. But I think Poor Things is up there.
I was gonna say, I think Poor Things is in that race.
It's up there, yeah.
I would agree, but I think Oppenheimer's is so good that it's up there. But also, Robbie Robertson died in between scoring it and it being released, and I feel like that might give them.
Yeah.
Remember when they did not give Best Actor to Chadwick Boseman?
Narrative doesn't always win. That's why Lily Gladstone might be in trouble this year. I don't know.
It's true.
I think Oppenheimer, the score for that film, may be the best score of the 21st century. I mean, it's really brilliant. I mean, it's
Jeremy, are you laughing at my reaction or
I'm laughing at your reaction? No, okay. I mean, I love the movie and I love the score.
What the music does for that film, I mean, it was already great. It just puts it over the edge. I mean, it's really great. And I think Poor Things, any other year, like it's so original, so perfectly odd. Like that score doesn't work anywhere else in any other movie but this one. And so those two, I mean, that's what I have my own personal 1-2 as well.
Those are my two. Yeah.
So
Robbie Robertson is loved, as Homo erectus said in the comments. He did die he did pass on, which is perhaps taken into consideration. But for me, it is Oppenheimer and Poor Things as my favorite scores of the year. I love Poor Things.
I think when you look at the films and the scores separately, my answers would be different, but I think Oppenheimer is served so much by the score that it is difficult to argue against it.
Yeah. I do want to mention three other scores that I really loved this year. Society of the Snow had a great score. That's Michael Giacchino. It's not quite Batman levels, but it's really good. A movie called Blood and Gold that I really loved. It's a German sort of World War II exploitation-ish movie. I actually enjoyed it more than Sisu, the SISU movie. I didn't love that movie. This movie does everything that movie does wrong, and it has a really cool spaghetti western score, very Morricone-esque. So I would definitely put that out there too. Check it out, Blood and Gold.
I will not stand for the Sisu hatred.
Did you love Sisu?
I loved it.
Yeah,
man, I thought it was just boring.
Yeah, check out Blood and Gold. It's on Netflix. It's really good.
Okay.
Number 5, I have The Covenant, Guy Ritchie's movie that came out this year. It was one of the things that stood out for that film for me. The score.
Was that 2023 that Guy Ritchie had 2 films that came out in one year?
I can't remember. This was his first good movie in a long time. I feel like. I enjoyed The Covenant a lot.
I hated that.
Of course.
War movies are not up my alley, so I'm not its target
As
audience.
you just said, Sisu is amazing.
Well, Sisu is technically a war movie, but it's so it's so over the top that it's like an Inglourious Bastards type of war movie.
Yeah. All right. Next up is original song.
I would like to put Dream Scenario as one of my favorite scores of the year, by the way.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah, I agree with that.
And Past Lives, just because I love everything about that movie.
I don't remember the score at all, though.
No, it's very understated. You're right, Jeremy. That's a good score.
Thank you, John.
John's the encouraging one tonight, and I'm just I was never prepared, so I'll just insult everybody.
Original song. It's gonna be a Barbie party.
It is. It absolutely is.
A big time Barbie party.
Yeah.
Go ahead, John.
The top 2 are What Was I Made For and I'm Just Ken. Those are the 1-2 for me.
Yep.
After that, I have the song from Rustin called Road to Freedom. It's by Lenny Kravitz. I have American Symphony, It Never Went Away by John Batiste. The movie I haven't seen yet, but it's John Batiste, so that should be there. And then this one, another movie I haven't seen yet, but it's been getting a lot of love just for the song, even though the movie sounds ridiculous, called Flamin' Hot. The song is called The Fire Inside. It's apparently a movie, like the origin story of the Flamin' Hot Cheetos.
Yeah, I watched
which
it.
I learned that this morning too. So
it was all right.
Okay. That would be my 5, and this is really outside of my comfort zone, but that's what I would guess.
Jeremy, what do you got for us?
I got even more of a Barbie party than you do, John. I got the 2 you said plus Dance the Night from Barbie.
I have some bad news for you. The Academy only allows 2 nominations for films.
Oh, all 3 were nominated at Golden Globes. I did not.
The Academy stuffy about that. They don't.
I did not know the Academy had that stipulation. Well, there you go.
If they didn't, they would certainly have 3.
Yeah. Again, I was looking at other awards ceremonies, but I did not know about that stipulation. Well, it's definitely going to be the 2 John said. I'm Just Ken. And what was I made for? Hopefully we can get some more confused Ryan Gosling looks when I'm Just Ken wins. We obviously not going to be Dance the Night. I have Peaches.
Oh, I forgot about that.
And because it's Bruce Springsteen, another one that was nominated at the Golden Globes, I have She Came to Me from a film called Addicted to Romance. Or no, vice versa. Addicted to Romance from a film called She Came to Me. That's apparently a Bruce Springsteen song.
Wow.
All right. So I've got the 2 Barbie ones, of course. The other ones, this is such a toss-up, I feel like, for many of the other ones. The only other one that hasn't been mentioned that I want to throw out there, I think there was one for Killers of the Flower Moon, and I don't remember what the original title is, but I have it written down as A Song for My People. I believe it's a modern native song that was written for this movie, and I feel like that's got an offside chance just because of how it... I believe that's the one that it brings the film in at the end. It's that last final one, if I remember right. So loved that song in there. And I also had Peaches written down. I feel like this has an offside chance. I also just want to see Jack Black nominated for an Oscar for singing Peaches.
And then he has to perform it live.
Yep, in costume.
I really hope it's there now that I remember Peaches.
I think John might be right about the what was the no, I had that in my December pick, and it
I think the Flaming Hot song has a real chance.
Has a chance. I don't think Lenny Kravitz has a chance, unfortunately. We'll see.
All right,
fell off my list.
Here we go. First one is
funny.
Wow.
That takes the place of my 3rd Barbie song on my list.
You guys see who the lyrics are by, right? So
yeah.
I get it.
It's every year.
I get it. Next up, I'm Just Ken. No surprise. Never Went Away by Batiste. God, John Batiste is so great.
Does that mean we're not getting Peaches?
We are probably not getting Peaches.
I'm depressed by that.
Whoa!
Oh, there's the one you said.
Wait a second. They're not.
No, what was I made for?
No, I bet you Billie Eilish is there.
Yeah, that's the last one.
That's the last one. So no Peaches. Yeah.
No, there's no I'm Just Ken. Oh no,
that's the second one.
There it is.
As long as that's there. I mean, that's honestly those 2 songs are the best part of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm very sad about Peaches.
That's a bummer.
But at least we can hear somebody performing The Fire Inside live.
So no Lenny Kravitz. No Lenny Kravitz.
Right? No Lenny Kravitz. No Peaches. Man, this one, interesting.
All right. Well, there you go. Those will be the 5 live performances on Oscar night.
Which I'm happy about, at least a few of them. I mean, I love both of the Barbie songs, and I love, and I'm very intrigued to see them perform the Killers of the Flower Moon song live. And I think that's a great choice. And I think it's an important choice. These other 2, I could really care less about, American Symphony and Fire Inside. I would have loved to have switched out one of them for Peaches.
Oh man. Oh, that's a good point. Where was it? Stan says very bummed, but looks like Asteroid City's entirely shut out. Totally forgot.
It could get in for production design, but
yeah.
But I didn't think it stood a chance for much of anything, to be honest.
I hated that movie anyway. Asteroid City, emphasis on ass.
Sometimes John and I really agree, like El Conde. Other times we strongly disagree, like Ferrari, Elvis, Napoleon, and apparently now Asteroid City.
Yeah, not for me.
He's gonna have to, Stan.
He's contractually obligated to.
I think that was the look on his face at the Golden Globes when it won. Was like, oh shit, I'm gonna have to perform this now.
All right. Any big ones that you guys wanted to throw out there that we didn't already talk about? I kind of figured that.
No.
Although I will say, if they accepted 3 nominees from the same movie, I love that "Dance the Night Away" song.
Yeah,
that one's Dua Lipa, right?
Yeah. Dance the night away.
Yeah, good stuff.
They're having the house party.
Oh shit, we're already a picture.
Really? What did we skip?
Oh, no, it's alphabetical.
Okay. Should we save it for last, or should we go ahead and do it?
It's hard for you to scroll past it, huh, Ryan? Without
it is, yeah. I can minimize it and then go to the other tab and scroll quickly. What do you guys want? You want to do that last, or you want to do it now?
I'd like to do it last.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to scroll quick. Not looking. Where's production design is next? Okay.
That's basically the face I made when I opened up my Instagram to post about tonight's show.
Well, I didn't look at anything. I didn't read any of the titles. I can't show production design on screen until I'm revealing all 5 because picture is above it. So, production design. I feel like we've got Barbie, Napoleon, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and then I feel like the last is a huge toss-up between like 4 movies. I feel like Anatomy of a Fall. I feel like Saltburn has a chance here. I feel like Asteroid City has a chance here. And then Zone of Interest, I think, is the one that I was going to pick.
I agree with those 4 locks: Barbie, Poor Things, Oppenheimer, and The Killers of the Flower Moon. I would love to see Asteroid City here. I don't think it stands a chance. I went with Saltburn.
Interesting.
I've got the 4 locks too. I think Barbie, Poor Things, Oppenheimer, Killers of the Flower Moon, and number 5, obviously, Mr. Bonaparte again, Napoleon.
All right, let's bring production design to our screen then. Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Napoleon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things.
That's 2, Jeremy. That's 2.
I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't know what I don't like more: the fact that Napoleon got 2 nominations, or that Greta Gerwig didn't get.
Or that Past Lives is only going to get 1.
Don't get me started.
So Asteroid City's getting shut out for sure.
So you're which I suspected. So you're 5 out of 5 on that, huh, John?
That was there was 4 locks there, but I had a feeling Napoleon might show up there. I think he might be capped at 2. I think that might be all Napoleon sees.
That's too many.
Interesting.
It's just large scale production design. It's Ridley Scott's making movies that nobody can make anymore, and so the Academy's going to recognize that.
So I briefly scrolled through, John, at one point while we were talking about something else, Ridley Scott's filmography as a director, to try and narrow down those 2 that I said were the only 2 by him I liked.
Yeah.
I stand corrected. There's actually 5, which is still not a large amount. But I like Alien. I like Blade Runner. I like Legend. I like Thelma and Louise, and I like The Martian.
Those are all great.
Those are the only 5 I've ever enjoyed by him.
Nothing between Thelma and The Martian.
Nothing between Thelma and The Martian.
Wow.
There's a lot of, again, to be fair, there's a lot of things that are 100% not up my alley, because I don't like war movies. So I didn't like Gladiator. I didn't like, Last Duel. I didn't like other ones. I just closed the tab, but he specializes in war movies, and then he just does some stinkers like House of Gucci. And
what's the one about the Crusades? The name is escaping me. I just recently watched the director's cut of that, and it was awesome.
I'm going back in.
What was the name of the movie? It's got Legolas is in it. He's the star. What's his name?
Oh,
Orlando Bloom.
Don't even get me started on all of
them. I had Kingdom, yeah.
So that movie got butchered by the studio, and he put out the director's cut, and it's fire. Yes, Kingdom of Heaven. Yes.
Kingdom of Heaven, didn't like it. American Gangster, I hated. Oh my god! Don't get me started on Robin Hood. Here's another really popular war movie of his that I'm sure is great. It's just not up my alley. Black Hawk Down. Know what? I stand corrected. There's one movie in between Thelma and Louise and The Martian that I did really like by him, and that's Matchstick Men. I didn't see that when I was scrolling before.
I actually haven't seen Matchstick Men.
I actually really like Matchstick Men a lot.
Interesting.
Animated short film. Did anybody make a list for that one?
Negative.
I assumed not. So we've got Letter to a Pig, 95 Senses, Our Uniform, Pachyderm, War is Over, inspired by the music of John and Yoko.
Next.
Live action short film. Anybody fill out anything for that?
Negative.
Oh, this is interesting actually, because Wes Anderson may win his first Oscar in this category.
Oh yeah, he
had
a Netflix thing, right?
Yes.
He did 5.
The Henry Sugar.
Henry Sugar was the most popular of the one.
Yeah, I think that will be nominated. That's the only one that I've seen. Obviously. Yeah.
Okay, let's see. The After,
Mm-hmm.
Invincible, Night of Fortune, Red, White, and Blue, and The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar.
Yeah.
Good. Wes Anderson's getting something. That's great.
Yeah, I think this will be his first Oscar win, which is for a live action short, which is actually kind of bad.
Dylan earlier said, "Don't worry, Wes will get in somehow."
Yep.
Yeah.
That's true.
Perfect timing. All right. What do we got next?
Stan said Ryan Gosling released a statement decreeing Margot Robbie and Greta Gerwig being snubbed.
Really?
Yeah.
And also the fact that he has to sing. All right, sound. Man, this is going to be an interesting one. I feel like I actually, as part of a podcast that I do on another channel, I actually said that sound is one of the biggest things that stuck out to me. I feel like we had a really great year for sound, and I can name probably 10 or 12 films here that would be deserving of this. I do think Oppenheimer is likely going to take it. However, man, even down to indies, like the sound on Talk to Me is mind-blowing. If you break down the surround sound on Talk to Me, there is some immersive sounds in the actual like Talk to Me part that is genuinely creepy.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I'm really mad that I haven't seen The Zone of Interest yet, because that everyone's talking about the sound design and that being just amazing.
Yeah. I think that should take it. Yeah, I do think Oppenheimer will probably take it for all the same reasons we've discussed the entire stream, but I think Zone of Interest should definitely take it this year.
All right, those were some of the ones on my list. What do you got, John?
Oppenheimer, The Zone of Interest, Maestro, Ferrari, and I'm throwing another Hail Mary here, Napoleon. Maybe 3. Can we get 3?
I have Oppenheimer, Zone of Interest, Maestro as well. Because I never possibly considered Napoleon for anything, and also didn't really think of Ferrari much either. I actually went with 2 bigger blockbusters where I thought that they would appreciate the sound, this being another category where they start spreading out to the blockbusters like they do with visual effects. I went with Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning and Gran Turismo.
Interesting.
I love Mission Impossible. The sound design in that is incredible.
I think
Right.
that one stands maybe more of a chance. Maybe Gran Turismo I should have swapped out for another car movie, Ferrari. But
well, that's the thing. They always put a car movie in this category, so that's why I went with Ferrari there. But maybe it could be Gran Turismo, which actually I like that better than I thought I would too.
That seemed to be the case for everybody.
It was decent.
It did the impossible, which is make me slightly interested in racing.
Yeah, right?
More so than Ferrari did, I got to be honest.
First one up is The Creator.
Oh, I love seeing that there, but I didn't think there was any shot for that, but that's awesome.
I mean, most people are very, very against this movie. Did you guys like this one?
I did not.
I thought it was great. I thought it was like Blade Runner-esque. I thought it was awesome.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
it looked gorgeous from the preview.
The
visual effects sounded great. Yes,
it's gonna be. It's actually I think it's the leader in visual effects right now. The sound, I didn't think it would be here, but now that I'm thinking back, I mean, it's a big IMAX like level movie, it's a big sci-fi spectacular. So I mean, this makes sense that it would be here.
This is another one I saw early at Beyond Fest last year. It was opening night of Beyond Fest, and I left fairly disappointed.
That's an odd choice for a Beyond Fest film.
A little bit. All
right, next one up. Maestro.
There it is.
No surprise there.
No surprise there when it's focused on music.
Mm-hmm.
Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning.
Wow, nice.
Hilarious that it says Dead Reckoning Part 1 when they've officially dropped Part 1 from the title.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I'm surprised they didn't get the memo.
That's kind of like how Eternal Memory was just willed into existence with nobody on the team.
The next two should be Oppenheimer and The Zone of Interest.
Yeah.
And it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is
basically the creator took my race car movie slot, which
no race car movie.
Yeah.
No race car movie. No,
despite there being many.
No Napoleon, unfortunately.
Yeah, interesting with the creator and Mission Impossible there.
I had a feeling Mission Impossible would be in there. They like Tom Cruise movies. Tom Cruise action.
I don't hate it. I don't hate that.
The creator is a surprise. Yeah.
All right, up next.
Are we doing? Are we doing our list or no?
Yeah, I totally forgot. Ones we want. I will once again shout out. Talk to Me is freaking amazing.
That's on my list too, Ryan. I have that at number 4. Number 5, I have Mission Impossible. 3, I have Ferrari because it's a movie that goes vroom vroom. Number 2, I have The Killer. If you want to hear what a good sound mix is, go watch that fight scene in that movie.
Not just the fight scene, but
the whole movie. It's just brilliant. It's like the subtleties of it are just.
The fact that that's not on this list is a crime to me personally. It's my second favorite of the year after Zone of Interest.
Totally. And Oppenheimer is number 1. God, I haven't seen Zone of Interest yet. Let's
Mine's Zone of Interest, Killer, Oppenheimer, Talk to Me, Mission Impossible.
Yeah,
good list.
Great list.
All right, next one up is visual effects. This one you can go very many different ways. So I had Creator. Funny enough, I had it on my list. I have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Mm-hmm. This is the only one that I put down, Napoleon. I feel like people are impressed by that. I have Godzilla -1, and the last one that I put down, I thought that this was a bit of a long shot, but I really think they might give it to something. Well, I have Poor Things, but I don't know if they'll include it. What do you got, Jeremy?
Sadly, I don't think they'll include Poor Things. I do think we're going to get a Godzilla -1. I think this is the one section where we'll get a nod for that film, which is totally deserved.
And it should be. I think that's the first Godzilla film, if it's nominated, ever to get one.
That'd be amazing. Well, to me, it's the best Godzilla film I've ever seen. I think Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I agree with you, Ryan. I did have the creator here. Didn't expect it for sound, but I had it here. I kept Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning, and I included Oppenheimer just because it's in everything else, every other category. So.
What do we got, John?
I have. First of all, I have one thing. Sorry for Jeremy. Oppenheimer was not shortlisted, so it's not going to be here for some reason. Visual effects. This is like the one category that it's not going to be in for sure.
Which is interesting because they did. Well, actually, that makes sense because they did go on record saying that everything was on set and practical effects.
Yeah, in camera stuff. So it wasn't nominated, although it's nominated literally everywhere else in this category. But I have The Creator, which I feel is a lock. I mean, that it's the most lived in real, like this is how people should be doing CGI now. It's very filmic. It doesn't stand out. There's not a lot of egregious, de-aging or any, BS gimmick stuff. It's really impressive. I have Society of the Snow for the plane crash, but also the vast snowscapes that, are in that movie are all mostly CGI. I have Guardians. I have Godzilla, and I have not Napoleon. I have actually Indiana Jones because the Academy does like that de-aging stuff. And
God, it's so bad.
The whole movie is like CGI, and that final. I don't know who you guys have seen it. That final sequence is, I mean, it's very CGI-y. It's for lack of a better word.
Oh boy. All right. Let's check it out. First we got The Creator. Good. Then we have Godzilla -1.
Yeah,
very deserved.
That's great.
Very deserved.
Wow.
Good for them.
Guardians.
There it is.
Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning.
Oh.
4 out of 4
And Napoleon.
Oh my gosh. You got 3, John.
3 nominations.
Oh my Lord. I never suspected. Gosh.
Man, I didn't even guess that one. Shoot.
Does this
interesting?
This doesn't qualify for Best Picture, does it?
No, definitely not. It's on my personal list, Napoleon. But I did not guess that. Wow.
Wow. Gosh, I mean, it's a decent list.
Congrats to Godzilla. That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm happy about that.
On there. I mean, and it's deserving too. I mean, they met in that movie. They managed to, I don't know. It's what they did was they sort of kept the essence of the man in the rubber suit. I feel like, but they made it scary as hell. Like this is a scary Godzilla.
Yeah.
And apparently, and it's done on a micro budget basically. I don't really care about that, but it looks amazing. But yeah, I actually really like this list.
Do we think Creator takes this hands down? Do we think they give it to Godzilla as a like a legacy diversity type pick?
Yeah, I would love for Godzilla to win.
That would be great. I think it's the creators. It's the creators to lose for sure. He's definitely the favorite right now in January, but in 2 months, who knows?
I agree with Crocodile. By the way, I did like the special effects in Creator, but the rest of the film not so much.
Any others that you guys feel are missing here that you would like to throw in there?
There was a lot of people guessing Spider-Verse, which I didn't really understand because it's animation. So that is kind of a snub. No Society of a Snow is a snub for me. I mean, the visual effects in that movie are incredible.
Weird to pick Napoleon over that, probably.
Yeah, I mean, I predicted Society. I didn't even have Napoleon there, which I'm kind of sad about.
I'm not sure if I would swap anything out personally.
No Poor Things is not really a surprise.
All right.
The only actually that my list is actually I have Godzilla, The Creator, Napoleon, Society of the Snow, and I actually put El Conde in there just for the flying scenes alone, which I loved, obviously, which I talked about.
Yeah, the other one I was going to shout out. I know a lot of people were hoping Beau is Afraid would get something for this one.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
I actually had Beau is Afraid in my personal list for production design, which I don't know that we maybe didn't mention. I think that it was deserving of that.
I would swap out Napoleon for Beau is Afraid personally. I think everything else is pretty deserving in this list, especially Godzilla. And even though I didn't like the creator, I think the effects were great. So,
well, I think all we have left is the one near and dear to Jeremy's heart and Best Picture. So let's go on to writing. Yes. So first is adapted screenplay.
All right.
I always screw these up. I never remember which is which. So I believe Barbie is eligible for this one, right?
Barbie got moved. Yes. Back in
Okay.
December when we did our show, Ryan, it was an original, and then it got moved to adapted since then.
Which is a big controversy, apparently, even though it's clearly adapted. I mean, it's based on existing IP. I mean, 50, 60, 70 years of existing IP.
More than that, almost like
Whatever,
80, isn't it? 80 or 90?
Maybe.
So my list, I had really only written down the ones that I knew. I've got Barbie, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and Zone of Interest. The fifth one, I don't even know like what else is up there that would be included for that. I as a long shot, I wrote down Air because I feel like if they were going to give it to anything, that might be an interesting one for that film to get something. But I don't know. What do you got, John?
I've got for me, there's not much wiggle room here. I think I have 5 I'm pretty confident about. Barbie, American Fiction, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, and I have Poor Things at number 5. I think Zone of Interest could get in. I haven't seen the movie. I loved All of Us Strangers. I think that's very deserving as well. But I think it's Barbie, American Fiction, Killers, Oppenheimer, Poor Things.
If I'd known American Fiction was going to get as much love as it had tonight, I might have included that if I'd known that it was. Yeah. What do you got, Jeremy?
I, for some reason, took Killers of the Flower Moon out of here. I may regret that. I may not. But I think the 3 locks are Barbie, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things, of course. I did Zone of Interest and American Fiction. That's 4 and 5.
All right.
That could be. It could be that.
Here we go. First one, American Fiction.
There it
Every
is.
time. Good God. Next up, Barbie.
Mm-hmm.
Oppenheimer. So far, nothing super surprising. Poor Things. Zone of Interest.
There you go.
5 for 5.
So no Killers of the Flower Moon.
No Killers of the Flower Moon.
Wow, that's a big snub. That's a big snub.
I know this is my best category. This and the next one.
Yeah, that's interesting. And everything I've heard, I've obviously not read the book, but supposedly the Zone of Interest book is nothing like the film. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting that it would get that when it's so far different.
So is Poor Things.
Yeah, nothing like that. Very different from the book. Yes.
Very different.
Wow.
Well, Glazer is such a visionary filmmaker that he was never stay true to that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, original screenplay. John, why don't you go first on this one?
Original screenplay. Hold on, Jeremy. Is there anything that you would add to this list from your picks?
Oh, that's right. Sorry.
What, adapted?
Yeah.
Yeah. Poor Things, Zone of Interest. I swapped out. Maybe I did this when I thought Barbie was still an original screenplay, or maybe I just did this because this movie ranks higher on my personal list than Barbie. I had swapped out Barbie for The Killer, which is based on a graphic novel.
I have The Killer on my personal list too.
Yeah.
I also have All of Us Strangers. Those are the 2 that I would put in there for sure.
I know last time we talked, Jeremy, I think you had Blackberry instead of American Fiction too.
That's quite possible. I love Blackberry. Yeah. I can't remember if I did or not, to be honest.
All right, now that I forgot that one yet again, original screenplay, John. What do you got for us?
Original screenplay. Stand by. Not original song. Hold on. Here we go. Original screenplay. The Holdovers. The favorite, I think, in this category. Anatomy of a Fall. Past Lives. And this is where it gets interesting because I think it's 2 of these 4: May, December, Maestro, Air, and Saltburn. I actually think I'm going to guess May, December in this category. even though it does feel like that movie is going to be totally blanked. But I have May December at 4 and Maestro at 5. So Holdovers, Anatomy of a Fall, Past Lives, May December, and Maestro.
That is my exact list.
Wow.
I think that this is the only one that they give, other than Best Picture, anything to Past Lives, and I think this is the only thing that May December gets all night.
I'm still of the camp that May December is going to be completely washed over, unfortunately. Otherwise, I have the same 4 as you guys: Past Lives, Holdovers, Anatomy of a Fall, and Maestro. I included my 5th as Saltburn. So we'll see.
Interesting. All right. So first up, we have Anatomy of a Fall, The Holdovers, Maestro, May December.
Nice.
Good for Sammy Birch.
And Past Lives.
Thank
All right.
God.
Wow.
5 for 5 on that one.
Wow.
I was at a PGA screening of May December recently, and I got to talk to just about everybody. And Sammy Birch was, I chatted with her the most out of anybody. And she's a real sweetheart. I think she's real deserving of this.
Awesome.
Interesting.
I'm glad to see May December somewhere.
Yeah, I'm glad I got a little love.
Original screenplay. Any that you guys would want to throw in here?
Yes.
Yes, there are. Next.
Keeping Past Lives, of course. Keeping Holdovers, of course. And then I would include the 3 I would be swapping out are definitely Maestro. I liked Anatomy of a Fall, but I like these 3 movies that I'm about to say more. And I also like May December, but I like these 3 movies more. I would include Beau is Afraid, Dream Scenario, and Perfect Days.
Very good. I would switch out. I have the Holdovers and Past Lives in my top 5 personal list too.
Nice.
But I also I threw When Evil Lurks in this category as well. That movie, the French movie The Beasts, I have this category as well. And my number 1 screenplay would be Infinity Pool, the most original script of the year.
Interesting. Oh boy. So obviously, after looking through all these, I'm going to scroll really quickly so we don't see anything. There is a lot of stuff that's changed up for Best Picture. I don't have American Fiction on my list, so I know that that's definitely getting one here.
Yeah.
Curious, what are the things that you guys are worried about now that we've seen all these? What might be missing?
Honestly, I think out of my 10 that I picked, I think 9 of them are still locks. I think there's only one I got wrong, and I think it's American Fiction in its place.
Which one did you pick instead of that?
Saltburn.
I think that we picked probably the same other 9, and instead of Saltburn, I picked All of Us Strangers.
Okay. What about you, John?
Yeah, I've got. You want me to just go through the list real quick?
Do the whole thing, yeah.
Sure.
Oppenheimer, Barbie, Holdovers, Poor Things, Killers of the Flower Moon, Anatomy of a Fall, Maestro, Past Lives. The Zone of Interest is the 9 that I think we probably all share.
Yep.
And I have American Fiction at 10.
There you go. I think
you'll
John,
probably get the 10.
I think John has a 10 out of 10 lock. I picked Saltburn instead of that was the thing that after our very first category, that was the thing I wanted to change.
So if Saltburn is not here, it got nothing all night.
Correct.
May December only got 1.
Napoleon somehow got 3.
Napoleon got 3.
I got good taste. What can I say?
Oh man. And that means All of Us Strangers likely got nothing either.
Which is really no, it's oh, you're right. Did it?
No, nothing.
Nothing. Wow. Yeah, those performances, that's really a shame, actually.
Yeah.
It's a tough year. All right, here we go. In order.
There it
American
is.
Fiction.
Right off the bat. And then the other 9 are our assumed locks. There could be a surprise in here.
You never know. You never know.
Anatomy of a Fall on the list. Barbie on the list. Holdovers on the list. Killers on the list. Maestro on the list. Oppenheimer, surprising. Past Lives, Poor Things, Zone of
There it is.
Interest.
All right.
All right.
I would have been 10 out of 10 had I thought it through a little bit more. It was between Saltburn and American Fiction for me, and I chose the wrong one.
Yeah, the only real contenders to that category were Saltburn, All of Us Strangers, The Color Purple, which got absolutely nothing, right? Nothing for The Color Purple.
Danielle
right?
Brooks.
Danielle Brooks.
Danielle Brooks. Okay.
Other than that, nothing.
Um,
Which, by the way, I'm fine with. I mean,
Yeah.
the music was great, but I didn't love the movie.
yeah, the music was fine. Yeah, I didn't love the movie either. But yeah, maybe early on people were talking about Spider-Verse being a Best Picture too, but
Yeah.
May December had at one point a chance of being on there.
yeah,
Saltburn had a chance of being on there at one point,
May December didn't get any acting. I mean, and they had,
which is shocking, by the way.
which is kind of crazy because between Charles Melton and blanking out
Natalie and Julianne.
Natalie Portman and Julianne Moore. It's kind of wild that I got no nominations, but it's a stacked year. It really is
That's a stacked year, especially in the acting categories, and when they kind of go off kilter and do Naiad for both supporting and lead,
that's true. I mean, you could honestly, you can make an argument for Naiad being in a Best Picture nominee by getting a lead performance and a supporting performance nominated.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been surprised if it showed up there somehow.
Yeah, it could have been there too.
Iron Claw completely shut out too, says John Stunk. Completely correct.
Not surprising. Again, I feel like if that was released in October, I think it would have had a real chance to ramp up towards the show, but it's too new.
Yeah. And A24 doesn't always do the best job promoting and getting out, the for your consideration stuff to the people that are actually
more for their fanboys only.
Yeah.
Like me and Zach. Zach, you watching?
Which ones do we love that we would have wanted to see on there? Go ahead with your list, John. Or Jeremy, go ahead.
This is basically our top 10 list of the year, though, right?
Basically,
yeah.
Go ahead,
John. At 10, that movie, The Beast, that Spain-France co-production. It kind of reminded me of a movie like Straw Dogs by way of Haneke or Von Trier. It's really good. 9, I have Society of the Snow. 8, I have All of Us Strangers. 7, I have The Holdovers. 6, I have The Eight Mountains, which I've talked about endlessly tonight. 5, I have When Evil Lurks. 4, I have Poor Things. 3, I have The Killer. 2, I have Oppenheimer. And 1, I have Infinity Pool by Brendan Cronenberg. That's my favorite movie of the year. Came out in January, and it's held that number 1 position for me since last January.
Damn.
It's not my number 1 like you, but it held its own and stayed in my top 23 for the year.
Absolutely. So that would be my top 10.
What's your 10 there, Jeremy?
I just looked. I just counted, and there's actually 6 in my top 10 that are nominated for Best Picture. Oddly enough, and I don't always agree with the Academy, but this is a particularly good year for Best Picture noms. I would say.
Yeah.
My going from last to first, like John did: American Fiction, The Killer, Oppenheimer, Zone of Interest, Beau's Afraid, The Holdovers, Dream Scenario, Perfect Days, Poor Things, and my number 1 of the year, Past Lives.
Interesting.
Good list.
So for mine, I would have The Holdovers on there, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, Zone of Interest, all from the big list. And then for my own personal stuff that I just truly loved, When Evil Lurks would have to be there for me. I gotta be honest, I'm an Across the Spider-Verse apologist. I definitely would have loved to have seen that tonight. Never ever would have been nominated, but Talk to Me would be up there. And then again, would never be nominated, but Bottoms was a wonderful movie.
Bottoms, another one that remained in my top 23 for the year.
Yeah, the films that just missed my top 10 were Napoleon. I have that actually number 11 right now. El Conde, Godzilla -1, Talk to Me, and that movie Full Time, which I talked about a lot tonight.
I really need to see Full Time. It's been on my watch list. I just need to get around to it. Things that just missed my top 10. Origin, previously discussed. One of the most overlooked films of the year, How to Blow Up a Pipeline.
Yes.
Flora and Son. I just love John Carney. May December, Saltburn, Bottoms, Theater Camp, Asteroid City, and Infinity Pool are the runner-ups. I'll give shout-outs to underneath the top 10.
Interesting. So what do we think of the overall list this year? Any like are you feel positive about it? Anything negative? Obviously, there's always going to be snubs, but how do you feel overall?
I think the biggest surprises were America Ferrera for me. That was shocking. Honestly, the more I think about it, Killers of the Flower Moon missing adapted screenplay is huge. Like, I mean, that is a huge.
That is kind of a big deal. Yeah.
But you know, this Oscar 10, I think it's a strong list, but at the end of the day, it's all you know, it's all Oppenheimer. It's going to be an Oppenheimer party. There's no doubt about it. I mean, the most interesting race for me, honestly, though, might come down to that Best Actor, because I would love to see Giamatti win as much as I love Cillian's performance. I just would love to see Giamatti on that stage, and he's been cleaning up in the precursors. So
he has. I hope he brings him in and out up on stage with him when he wins.
That was so great, so great. I mean, the most talked about thing is going to probably be Greta Gerwig missing director. That's going to be a big part of the conversation.
I think that's the number one snub in my book.
Yeah, I'm glad they nominated Justine Triet. She's definitely deserving. I was surprised they didn't go Payne, and it was Glazer was in there too, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So that was surprising for me. But the Gerwig snub feels, although she did get the screenwriting nomination, the directing snub feels like a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
I
mean, honestly, for me, Naiad over Margot Robbie.
Actress. That's a huge deal. The two Barbie things are the huge. Rather than being surprised about America Ferrera, which I kind of thought was a lock personally, I'm more surprised that we didn't get Margot or Greta in those two categories, respectively.
True. I almost forgot about Robbie not making it. Even though I predicted Benning. As soon as we get off here, I'm going to go on and check out some of the dialogue that's been going on the interwebs over this, because they have to have been losing their minds.
Oh, I'm sure the internet is ablaze.
Yes. I'm happy about the Napoleon getting some love, because it has been almost, I feel like, universally panned by people like Jeremy, and so I saw the movie.
What do you mean, you people?
I was fully expecting to be slightly underwhelmed by it, because I'd heard so many mediocre things about it. I was really blown away by it. I really thought it was a fully formed, you know, it's exactly what you think it is, and that's okay. And honestly, I hear there's a 4-hour cut that's going to come out on Apple TV at some point that I am going to be there for. It's going to be great.
I think this is one of the better years. Last year was a great year, I think.
Yeah.
Last year was a year where I was like almost completely on board with like just about everything that they nominated, which was so shocking to me considering how often I disagree with them. Mm-hmm. Can't say that for most years, especially the year Green Book won. But this year was a close second to last year, I'd say. I mean, there's always going to be snubs, like you said, Ryan. You prefaced that. Definitely Margot and Greta are two big ones. Killer's not getting adapted screenplay. There's a lot of, those are some of the negative surprises. Some of the happy surprises for me, Perfect Days getting Best International nom, Godzilla being there in visual effects.
It's a big deal.
So there was some pleasant stuff too. More often than not, though, it was fairly in line with what I think, at least me, and I think all three of us were we're thinking for the most part, with the few surprises here and there. And like John said, that top 10, I can't argue with it, to be quite frank. I liked every single movie in the top 10 this year, which I can't say for almost just about every year. There's always like one or two where I'm like, how on earth would you? I mean, my least favorite would be Maestro, I would say, I guess. But
to point out, Maestro got tons of noms. He got like somewhere between like 5 and 8 noms, something like that.
I think every Best Picture nominee I gave at least a 3.5 stars on Letterboxd. I think.
Yeah, I agree with that. Which is,
I mean, that's, you can't ask for more than that. My favorite nomination of the night may be El Conde getting cinematography.
Yeah,
that feels like a big deal.
That was a really pleasant surprise.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. But yeah, I'm looking forwed to Ryan Gosling's performance on Oscar night for sure, though.
I agree with that, and that reminds me that I would have loved to have seen Jack Black do Peaches. That's a bummer.
They were campaigning that hard too. That's really a shame that didn't make in.
Yeah. Big thing. I think the takeaway from all of this is Oppenheimer is going to be a big winner. Period.
And as it should. I mean, it's the movie of the year, and I don't know how often this happens that one of the biggest blockbusters of the year actually wins Best Picture. It hasn't happened a lot recently, but it just kind of feels right, though, doesn't it? It's kind of its year.
It is.
I mean, I think it will. Well, let's go back and look. Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably between Oppenheimer and Poor Things, I would say, in terms of any kind of race it has. But I do think it'll be Oppenheimer, yeah.
By the way, and I know it's not a surprise that Poor Things is in there, but can we just celebrate Poor Things being nominated for Best Picture and having the most sex of any mainstream release of the last how many years? Like,
it's a huge deal. I mean, the fact that Emma Stone is nude for as long as she is,
I know.
the Academy said, "Yeah, we love this and we want people to see it." That's a big story, and it's that it is a big story, but it is.
Yeah, I think he got the favorite. Yeah, the favorite was also nominated for Best Picture, but that is the most mainstream Yorgos film that exists. For this, and then quite on the opposite end of the spectrum, they let him go full Yorgos on this one. So to nominate, I mean, granted, they probably have a relationship with him based on the favorite being nominated for many things. Olivia Colman won that year, but yeah, it's still a bit shocking, but deserves to be applauded for something like Poor Things, as ridiculous and over the top and miraculous of a story as it is to be included.
This is probably a cheap shot, but I'm very happy that none of the songs from Wonka were nominated for Best Original Song.
Oh yeah, you really didn't like that one,
huh? Did you guys like it?
I haven't seen Wonka yet, and I've been putting that off.
I was surprised that I liked it as much as I did. I didn't love it. I went in fully expecting to hate it, and I enjoyed a lot about it.
The supporting cast is charming, and the movie is not.
I don't like Timothée Chalamet that much. The only thing I really liked him in was his very first role, Call Me By Your Name.
Yeah.
There's nothing else that I can really say he was a standout, in my opinion.
You love Bones and All too, right?
Oh, Bones and All I love, yes.
Yeah.
I love Bones and All.
Yeah, me too.
Not necessarily because of him. In fact, he doesn't even come in till almost halfway through the film.
True.
In that movie.
Yeah,
Taylor is really the standout in that, as well as Luca's directing.
The directing.
And really David's script, for me, is the big standout of that movie. But yeah, he's good in that too. I did like the supporting cast in Wonka. I don't know. I really liked the world that, the director is the same guy who did Paddington 1 and 2. And I really liked the kind of world he built in that and the colors and the imagination, but I can't say too much else about it. Except that I was pleasantly surprised. That doesn't mean I loved it, but I was surprised going into it expecting to loathe it.
Not to change the narrative too much, but have you seen the trailer for the next Luca film, the one with Zendaya?
Yeah.
The movie looks good.
Yeah,
I'm stoked. That was one of the ones that was supposed to come out last year and got pushed with the strike and everything. That's my most anticipated. You know what else? I'm so stoked. This was another one that was supposed to, I think it was supposed to come out in like November, and then it got pushed. It's coming out next month. The Ethan Coen film, Drive Away Dolls.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for it. It looks like classic 90s Coen brothers to me.
I agree.
Stoked.
There's a Linklater movie coming out this year that was supposed to come out, I believe.
Yeah, Hitman.
Have you seen that yet?
I have not.
Yeah. I know a lot of critics saw it, and I was really looking forward to that this year, but obviously never came.
I'm excited for that one.
I think that got announced on Netflix too, a Netflix exclusive, which I always hate to hear, but
yep.
And Love Lies Bleeding, the new Rose Glass film.
Oh yes, that's right.
I'm on the edge of my seat for that.
Saint Maud, right? Her follow-up.
Yeah.
That looks amazing.
Yeah, I think
that trailer is incredible.
There's one I'm trying to remember the name of.
That you're excited about?
Yes, very much so. Of course, everything's running slow because I'm streaming. It is. I just didn't remember the title of it. It's literally the one you just said. Love Lies Bleeding looks fucking amazing.
Yeah, it looks amazing. I would say that Drive Away Dolls and what was the first one we just said?
The Luca film.
Oh yes,
and Luca Guadagnino. Yeah.
Those are I think those are my top three I'm the most excited about this year so far, at least early in the year. You know what's getting some of the most buzz out of Sundance so far that apparently is just absolutely phenomenal?
Staring at the TV or whatever it's called, or it's like the glow of the TV.
That one too, but My Old Ass is apparently.
Oh yeah, Aubrey Plaza.
Everybody's talking about My Old Ass. Yeah.
It's going to make some great headlines this year.
Good night, Angie. Oh, that's your mom, right?
That is my mom.
Good night.
Thanks everybody for sticking in there. If you did,
did anybody watch this, Ryan? I haven't been looking at the.
There has been a very steady number of people watching, so I'm excited, and it's been almost 3 hours just literally reacting, and honestly, you could tell that we all did really well with not seeing anything today. Those were all. This is good stuff. I love doing this every year.
There were some good
This
surprises.
is my favorite.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun.
I love you both. And this is my favorite time of the year.
Same.
These are all
now I know what my wife meant about the Barbie thing. I'm very curious to read the Discord on that.
Yeah, you told the Discord to shut the hell up. So now we can go in there and have conversations about it after this is done.
Oh man. Anything else about this we wanna bring up?
No. I think my final thoughts are there's always going to be surprises, like you said, Ryan, but this is a very solid year. I think all things considered, minus the few surprising snubs, I can't really complain too much, personally.
Yeah.
2023 was a great year for movies, and
it really was.
Don't just get lost in the stuff made before the year 1997 that's sitting on your shelf. Go watch a new movie. Go to the movie theater and go watch a new movie. There's a lot of good stuff coming out. Well said.
We should end on that. I'll add that that I told Ryan that, and this is just a testament to how great of a year 2023 was for film. My best of list is always whatever year we're in. So the best 23 films of 2023 for last year, and then I do the runner-ups, same number. And in this particular case, my runner-ups, my 23 best of and my 23 runner-ups were pretty much my 5-star and 4.5-star ratings on Letterboxd.
Wow,
almost to a T, which almost never happens. I end up usually dipping into like 4, 3.5, maybe even 3 into the runner-up category in many years. I
think I rated like over 60 films 2023 releases at 4 stars or higher, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I feel like there were like 15 or 16 films that were just very obviously ahead of everything else this year, and that's not always the case. So it made a lot of this a little easier to narrow down. But even then, when you're narrowing down to 5, that's not easy for some of these categories.
5 is tough. And I saw Stan earlier in the comments. I love Stan to death, but I have to disagree with him. He said he thought 10 was too high for Best Picture. I think it's almost perfect because really it's a culmination of every other category. And you're pulling from, oh, well, this one got Best Supporting Actor and Best Actor. This one got Best Director and Best Screenplay noms. You know what I mean? So we're pulling from all the other noms. It makes sense for it to be double of everything else.
Yeah, it's shining a light on, on maybe an international film that maybe it's not totally accessible to a mainstream audience. How many people are going to go see Anatomy of a Fall in the Zone of Interest now because it's on this list?
It's true. And it will get more theater play too.
Absolutely. Even Past Lives, a movie that's been around for 8 months now at this point, like that's going to get a new life as well.
Love you, Stan.
Absolutely.
We mentioned about how crazy it is for Poor Things to be on here. How kind of crazy is it for Zone of Interest to be on here? Not just an international film, but such an experimental one at that, where it's totally, relying so heavily on the sound design and really just a day in the life of these people. I won't give any spoilers too much, but
very experimental director historically too. That that was not a given that he was going to get that much love tonight.
No. So
has he ever been nominated before, Glazer?
Did he get nominated for Under the Skin?
Don't think so.
No. So it's nice to see him get a first nomination if that is indeed the first.
Yeah.
I will end it on this question from Ronnie, who said, who's going to be on Thursday's show? This week we have James Merritt from 20th and 21st Movies. It's the first time he's been on the channel. Eager to discuss things with him. Our discussion this week is going to be underrated 2010s horror, which the big ones get a lot of love, but the underrated ones really fly under the radar for that decade. So eager to talk about it. The other thing next week, as usual, is going to be Will Dodson, but may as well just start to highlight it now. In 2 weeks, Mr. John DeMarsico will be live on Reconnected for the first time ever.
Can't wait.
Eager to have you on. Thank you guys for doing this. This is an incredible time every year. Can't wait for the Oscar show. I believe March 10th is the Oscars. Is that right?
That sounds right.
So let's plan on being there all day long. We're all going to be here together hanging out.
2 days before my birthday. What better way to celebrate than with y'all?
Was it on your birthday last year, Jeremy?
It was on my birthday, and I was sick at home with mono, if you recall. And so you guys helped cheer me up that day. Now it's 2 days before my birthday.
And your favorite movie won Best Picture,
and my favorite, it was a great birthday, all things considered, having mono but getting to watch the Oscars with y'all and my favorite film winning Best Picture. That will not happen this year. We all know that, but I'm happy.
What if after all of that, Past Lives wins Best Picture?
The only other thing it got was original screenplay, but if it somehow did that, I would be stoked.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out tonight. We'll see you in just 2 days. That's pretty rare. See you on Thursday. And, go watch a movie.
Thanks.